Good afternoon. Thank you for tuning into the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, as well as Oilers Nation Facebook, YouTube, and X. It is Positive Friday, a busy one here on the show. The Jason Gregor Show, as always, is brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. You can go use Gregor50 as the code word when you make your deposit. Get a $50 free play. Also tonight, Lotto Max, an estimated $25 million. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. Of course, make sure to use your game sense and stay within your limits. Connor Halley with you here today on the Friday edition of the show. Gregor will be back next week. We got Declan Kruger and Liam Peace along for the ride as well. Wanye Gretz will be by in a few minutes, and tons of things to get to on this show today. Of course, the Edmonton Oilers last night falling to the Detroit Red Wings 3-2 in a shootout. Shootout, not great. When you have two attempts and only get one shot away, probably not great for your fortune. Red Wings win. Tough one for the Oilers, up 2-0. Tough to give up those leads. Some say it's the worst lead in hockey. The Red Wings obviously now, 15-4-1 since Todd McClellan taken over. That's a new and improved team. But for the Oilers, a little bit of a disappointment, I would say. They now are still tied with the Vegas Golden Knights, who lost in overtime. The Oilers do have a game in hand, though. So based on winning percentage, the Oilers still first in the Pacific Division. We'll discuss that and more on the program today. We'll have Mark Spector joining us a little bit early. We had to do some shuffling with people pulling out and needing different time slots. So Mark Spector will join us at 2:20 here on the Gregor Show. We'll also be joined by Shai Davidi, Rogers Sportsnet baseball columnist. We'll talk some Toronto Blue Jays. Of course, they're doing some moves. You got Santander, you got Scherzer. Anyone else? We'll talk to Shai about the Toronto Blue Jays offseason, and then the Blue Jays or the Major League Baseball offseason as a whole. Does he like what the Dodgers are doing? Does he think that is good for baseball? Can the deferred payments be something that more teams take advantage of? We'll talk about that and lots more. Kevin McGrath, they roll in town. They're actually practicing shortly. See, they're always an interesting team. It's always nice to roll into when they control when the puck drop is. 5:00 start tomorrow, hockey night in Canada. I'm sure for a lot of us, that's a good thing. If you're older and you want to get home sooner, it's great. If you want to go out and have a good time after the game, that's not a bad idea either. So for most of us, I'd say a 5:00 puck drop is pretty nice. Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. We've got Eric Francis, covers the Calgary Flames for Rogers Sportsnet, joining us at 4:00. Of course, Calgary Flames having a fantastic start to the season, battling for a playoff spot. I don't know how many of us would have thought that would have been the case. And they bowled off a trade yesterday, which for the time being, I think most would say they won. Morgan Frost, Joel Farabee heading to the Calgary Flames. They send Andre Kuzmenko and Jacob Pelche out the door, along with a second and a fourth round pick. We'll see what happens for the Flyers with those picks. Maybe they turn into something, but I think today, Calgary Flames making some good moves, kind of bolstering their mid lines in that one. Craig Button will be by. Well, we'll talk to Craig about, that trade and a whole lot more. Get his thoughts on the Oilers. I want to ask him, what would have gone into the work about John Klingberg? How much would they research? How many, on off ice, what they would have been looking into? Because signing a guy coming off the hip surgeries like he was, a bit of a risky move. Now, granted, low cost and you can move on if need be. But want to see what a former GM would have done to make sure he made that move. We'll also be joined by Alan Mitchell, host of the Lowdown with Lowetide. You just heard him for the last 2 hours. And Zach Lang from Oilers Nation and Daily Faceoff. Of course, you can always reach us as well at the eWell inbox, 1-833-401-1440. Score with your power play partners at eWell. Get all of your electrical needs at ewell.ca with 24/7 ordering and shipping in Edmonton and across Alberta. Quickly want to check in on the YouTube channel. Smashes, Road to the Cup. Good afternoon, guys. Hope you're doing well. You need better internet. You lag here and there. Well, Declan, is that our internet or would that be the internet on the other side? I don't know for sure.
I think everything on our end is all fine.
Well, maybe that's just me. Like, that's my mannerisms.
Oh, could be.
Like, I talk weird and sometimes I just lag. That we can't rule it out.
You're just a big old weirdo.
Yeah, that it could be on me. It's very possible. But the text line is open. Shoot those in. If you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, or X, make sure you hit the like button. We're also available on Instagram if that's your thing. You just got to go check out Sports 1440. And it's funny, we got a lot of soccer texts coming in. Were you, Liam, and Tide talking a little footy, Declan?
The end there, yeah. Touch at the end.
I like it. Go Liverpool. Go Reds. I don't even know who they're playing this weekend, or if they are. I know they lost in Champions League to a team in Netherlands, but didn't really matter because they're doing okay. Last night, the Edmonton Oilers losing to the Detroit Red Wings 3-2, and a tough one because they had opportunities. Connor McDavid just missing on that wraparound. I'll give credit to Lyon for making the big save, getting the pad across. Leon Draisaitl hits the crossbar. For Detroit, opportunistic. I tell you, that Marco Kasper kid, watching him on the power play, he seemed like he's a bit of a threat. But Dylan Larkin was strong for the Edmonton Oilers. Just let it slip through their fingertips. Still had a really good chance. Overtime. Whenever it goes into overtime and you're the Edmonton Oilers, I think there's that feeling of confidence, like you're going to find a way to get it done. McDavid and Draisaitl are just going to do it. It just didn't happen. Got the 1 point. Like we said, the Vegas Golden Knights also picked up 1 point last night. So you're still sitting in first place for the time being. Lots of hockey to be played. We'll have to see, down the stretch how things go. But the Edmonton Oilers in a good spot. Better than they were last year, I think, at this time. So, you got to take that. The other big news of today, the estimated salary cap in the NHL, it is going up, which is fantastic news. I don't know if that's TV revenue or what it might be. But right now, the salary cap in the NHL, $88 million. This is the higher end estimates for next season, $95.5 million. Right there, $7.5 million. That's a contract. That's a good player. 26, 27, up to 104, hopefully. Let's just hope it all continues in the right direction. And then by 27, 28, $113.5 million. I just look back at things. I do this all the time. I go back and look at NFL drafts and think of the players that the Chargers could have selected. If it goes up $7 million, and, it's going to help with Bouchard and Connor McDavid and maybe, Stuart Skinner in the future for sure. But I always just think back to, Broberg and Holloway. That would have been the money right there. You would have been good had you known this was going to happen. There's no guarantees. And, the Oilers might have said anyways, we don't want to make that commitment to those players. But I always just think what could have been. It's a tough way to look at life. Declan Kruger on the other side of things today. We also got Liam Peace keeping us on track on the streaming. Declan, hope all is well. Snowy day today. What are your plans for the weekend? Are you a Senior Bowl guy?
Yeah, I'll be tuning into the Senior Bowl. I'm not the biggest Senior Bowl guy in the world, just because I kind of view it as a bit of a glorified Pro Bowl. I get that there are other reasons for it, and obviously it's it comes down to evaluation, and it's obviously a great look at some high level prospects or potential high level prospects. So I understand what comes with it. Still never been the biggest fan of the game though. It's always felt just a little too artificial for me. We'll be tuning into that tomorrow. Leafs and Oilers, very, very excited for that one. That is such a marquee matchup, so I can't wait for that. And a little poker night tonight as well. So it's all going well.
Now, how many of you get in on the poker night?
I think we have 8 tonight. Generally we try and keep it like 6 to 8. I think that's a good number.
Is it a big buy-in?
Speaking. Yeah, so what we do is we do 25, 50-cent blinds and then 50 buy-in, unlimited repops, because that way obviously you have 100 big blinds when you sit down.
If anyone's watching on YouTube, that blank stare on my face. I don't know much about poker. I never really got into it. I've had buddies who do it, and I just kind of sit to the side. I played once, wore sunglasses, won.
Oh,
that was it for me.
You play again, man, if you won.
Well,
you clearly had to look down.
I just went all in. I try to who's the coolest poker player? Phil Ivey?
Yeah, he's probably the GOAT.
Negreanu's
great as well.
Who else is there? Jennifer Tilly?
My favorite was a guy by the name of Tom Dwan. He was a high stakes cash game player. Came into the game early at like 22, 23 years old, and obviously played these really high stakes cash games and did very, very well. Ultra aggro player, would bluff with anything. He had unlimited range, which was why I really appreciated him.
And you've gone down to Vegas for poker tournaments, right?
No.
Or you've gone to the rooms and played at least?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I've never gone there specifically for a tournament, but when in Vegas, I have played poker there. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's a lot of fun.
I used to try to watch it on TV, and when it made it easier when they'd be the percentages of how much they had to, to win. And I don't know anything about it, but definitely respect the game. It was kind of one of those sick at home, Price is Right is over, nothing else to watch.
Yeah.
Throw on poker. LNH is dry, going down to 13% of the cap is insanity. Oh, absolutely. And then this is good. Everybody wins in this instance with the cap going up. Players get paid more. It's good because the league is flourishing. And I think getting on with ESPN and TNT, I think that did a lot of good for the NHL. John says, The word is that Tom Dwan owes people $30 million, Declan. He owes Jungle Man $3 million. Could that be a possible thing?
I knew he had a long-standing bet with Jungle Man. Yeah, I think what it was is like they agreed to play a million heads up or something, and then Tom backed out. But that might have also been against that Finnish guy, whatever his name was, Victor Blom, maybe. He's Swedish. It doesn't matter. Yeah, Tom Dwan was in the hole for a little bit, but I think he had some weird challenges out there. I don't know. It's tough, right? Like so many poker players always owe each other money and stuff like there's always some debts going around. It's just way too hard to track.
Yeah, I mean, I see that on the old algorithm on Instagram. It's like these guys win money and just like leave chips sometimes, like too much money. But hey, good fun to be had. We got Liam Peace here. He's going out with the boys. He's dressed to the nines, going out for a nice dinner, and then maybe he'll go play some poker. I think that might be in their plans. I'm not going to expose where they're going, but it sounds like everyone's going to have a good time. James says, how can you not be a fan of Vanessa Rousseau?
She is beautiful.
I was going to say,
I
don't know who she is, so that's how I'm not a fan.
I don't know how old she would be these days, but back in like the big poker boom of like 2006 to 8-ish, she was stone cold stunner.
She is 41.
That's it?
These images, yeah, she's dating herself. She's kind of got like the crooked trucker cap.
Yeah. That was her style. That and the big Jersey Shore-esque sunglasses.
Yeah.
That was her style.
Although it looks like they're reflective. Well, not all the time. Yeah, I don't know. Poker had it was big for a while. I mean, it still is, obviously. It's good for a night out. I don't know a lot of the names other than probably Phil Ivey and Daniel Negreanu, which is a big one. We were going to have Colin Livingston on the show today, just under the weather, so we won't be able to get to the Cantor race report this week, but we will in the future for sure, once he gets back and is fully healthy. We also got the Pro Bowl this weekend in the NFL. I don't think, Declan, anyone likes the Pro Bowl. I don't even like the Pro Bowl games. I saw last night they did like a speed walking thing, and it was the Bosa brothers racing.
That's so boring, man. I can't even get into it. And like, you know me, like we're some of the biggest football fans out there.
We're
like,
sickos,
yeah. I just can't. I since like what 2006 was the last year I was able to get excited about the Pro Bowl.
It's like Sean Taylor made this Pro Bowl like on the map with this hit. We always loved it before. We'd go to Hawaii, Big Island, and then wherever it was, Honolulu, and then they took it away from there, and it just lost all the prestige. The guys couldn't go have a good time. They're in Orlando, like just lame. But anyways, that's going on this weekend. If you want to watch that, I don't think anybody will. We'll talk a little Four Nation face-off. It's coming up here. The jerseys out there, I believe they're available for purchase now for those who might want to be getting into those. And probably won't be me. Now the NHL, the captains are going to be speaking today. Like if that's your thing, if you want to get into it, McDavid, Barkov, Hedman, Matthews. Not my thing. But those guys are going to be speaking to the media as well. 1-833-401-1440. Guys, I need the salmon air fryer suggestion again. Keg steak sauce, lemon pepper seasoning, anything else? I missed that one, but I am a huge fan of the air fryer. Last night, took a chicken breast, diced it up a little bit, threw in some barbecue sauce, some chili flakes. Nice little treat. I always suggest go get the air fryer. If you don't have one, it's certainly something you should add to the repertoire because it certainly makes life a little bit easier for the cooking and doing things a little bit better as well. Should say we're also going to get Zach Lang on at 5:25 because we're going to talk some fantasy sports with him. He working with Daily Faceoff, of course, and Oilers Nation, and he's got a show he does every day talking a little fantasy sports. So we'll get to that as well. If you're looking at players you should look to add maybe one day. Oh yeah, sorry. Sidney Crosby's obviously captain for the Canadian team. I saw I don't know, it must have been something they were doing, advertising the tournament, and it had like all the captains, and then it had Connor McDavid, not even Sidney Crosby. So maybe they know what they're doing. Dave Q. Man, I don't even know if I can pronounce his name. Ukrainian Olga Ironchelva is the new poker hottie. A very good poker player too. Do people still watch it? My wife and I were in Vegas a couple summers ago and we stumbled into the World Series of Poker that was going on, and it like the room was absolutely massive. So many people there. Then I assume once they kind of weed out the less stellar players, it gets onto the broadcast. But I mean, obviously, big event. Declan, are you familiar with Olga?
No. And that clearly shows I'm out of the game. Because I heard the name and it did not resonate with me. I mean, Vanessa Rousseau. Oh, come on now. Came back to me instantly. But Olga, no, unfortunately not.
Oh, you're gonna.
I'm going to do my research.
When's the last time you played poker with the boys?
Maybe 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
All right. So you've never really been out of the game, but you're going to be fully back in.
That's the plan.
Wanya Gretz rolling into the studio. Wanya, how was the commute in today?
Snowmageddon. Have you already declared it Snowmageddon on the show today?
Haven't mentioned that once yet.
Allow me. It's Snowmageddon.
Should people turn their lights on?
I wouldn't go that far. But you definitely, when you park, you know the smart people who put the wipers straight out from the car? Clutch veteran move on a day like today.
I did that. Hot windshield, going into the cold, precipitation falling from the sky. You got to be ready for that one, especially here at the mall.
It's coming down.
Oh, man. I shoveled 3 times in the last 24 hours. Back's killing me. Okay, so when we bought our house, it's like a cool little luxury 3-car garage.
Until
you have to shovel the
3-car horizontally?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Problems out of the
as opposed to 3-car vertically?
Well, there are garages you can buy that are like L-shaped.
No. Oh,
Yes.
okay. Yeah. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sorry, L. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yes. You can like drive one in and then you can pull your car out.
You know what? I tried to pull a gotcha, and for that, I apologize.
And they do have those garages like on YouTube. You'll see like one goes down, one goes
Well, there's those too.
for the rich people. No, ours is just 3s wide.
Oh, you're downplaying your 3-car garage?
We got a good deal on the house.
The Bradley Beal of Edmonton Sports Radio over here.
It's not a very nice garage, I'll say.
How can that be?
But it's long and my back hurts. And the snow pile is so high. And like, I'm pretty sure now when I start to shovel, it falls off the other side onto my neighbor's driveway. After hearing your M-Check stuff, I don't want a cop to show up.
The war zone he lives in. The first house I lived in, I bought it in the summertime. I was like so pumped. I'm like, I'm the most adult in the whole city of Edmonton. And then I'm like, look at this driveway. I'm a king. And then it snowed the first time. I was like, I'm the dump. This is back in the day. I moved. But it was like, there was not only was it a huge driveway that ran the length of the lot, there was nowhere to put the snow. So you had to truck this snow. Like it was just an operation.
I mean, like I see those really long driveways. I'm like, that'd be great for street hockey. That's so cool. And then winter. Everything goes out the books. We got poker on in the studio now. Dan versus Johan at the WPT Global Tournament in Wynn. I love the Wynn. I've never stayed there actually, but I like to walk through it. Wanya, are you a poker player?
No. It requires far too much attention. Do you remember the year of the hockey strike? I'm thinking 2004 now, that's when poker blew up on TV. Do you remember?
I remember being sick and it was on TV after I'd watch Price is Right. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Well, I can remember it was like, there's no hockey. What are the boys going to get together and watch? And the answer was you're going to get together and watch poker and play poker. And it seemed to me like over the course of the strike, everybody and their dog got into poker. That was my worst nightmare because I couldn't keep up.
Yeah, me too. I told him I played once, wore sunglasses to play the act up, and I won, and then I quit because I didn't know how I won. I just guessed and went all in.
I used to go to my buddies' poker tournaments and pretend, right? And I would just smash as many beers as I could. And then based on that was how my tournament went. I was super aggressive for no reason.
Yeah.
Because I was already 5 BLs in.
Get out of there if you have to.
I just wanted to hang.
I get it. We'll take a break. A lot of people here. Vanessa Russo, Lady Maverick, Hubba Hubba, Northside Lou. And then Stanzi bringing up Maria Ho as well. Says she's a banger. I guess that means she's attractive. I don't know because I don't really know, but we'll Google it and find out. Tiger says it's $10K around for a heated driveway. I think it's good value, but my neighbor is a bleep and he'd probably throw snow on it. But then it would melt right off anyways. Heated driveway.
10 grand per what?
For a heated driveway.
10 grand for a heated driveway? How long did they last, I wonder?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's a question for the listeners.
My buddy does concrete. Maybe I'll have to reach out and get a good answer from him. Lots to get to on the show today. Let me bring up my schedule.
Driveway pricing?
Driveway pricing?
Yeah.
Well, we can talk about that. We got Zach Lang from Oilers Nation, 520. We got Lowetide at 5. Craig Button, Eric Francis, Cam Tate, Kevin McGran going to join us. We'll talk about those Maple Leafs, Shai Davidi, some Blue Jays baseball talk and Major League talk. And up next, Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, Facebook, YouTube, and X, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace, or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates, Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tank. And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical project team on your site.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients. Better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's Sports20.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Hey, it's Andrew Walker, host of the Cross Mitsubishi pregame show, which you can check out before all the games this season. A big thank you to Cross Mitsubishi for their support. We are Sports 1440, Edmonton sports leader.
You don't know what awaits you on the road to come, but with the 2025 XC90 from Volvo of Edmonton, you'll have the versatility to take on whatever life throws at you. The new XC90, a luxurious SUV with seating for up to 7, boasts newly upgraded body and wheel design. It's the perfect choice to drive into the coming year. And right now, you'll save $4,500 and lease from 1.49% on all in-stock 2025 XC90s. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Planning for your future. Vision Credit Union makes it simple with 2 RRSP options to fit your goals. Choose a secure term deposit RRSP with guaranteed returns or a mutual fund RRSP offering higher growth potential with exciting opportunities. With an RRSP, you'll save on your 2024 taxes, grow your investments tax-free, and get closer to your dreams, whether it's retirement or your first home. Don't wait. The deadline to qualify for 2024 tax deductions is March 3rd. Learn more at visioncu.ca.
Cold, icy mornings, frozen windshield, snow in the forecast, and your vehicle won't start. You know what that means, Alberta. Winter is here. Don't get left out of the cold. Head to Napa Auto Parts today to gear up for the frosty months ahead. Winter won't wait, and neither should you. From premium batteries, starters, and alternators to high-quality wiper blades, antifreeze, and snow brushes, Napa Auto Parts has everything you need to get your vehicle winter ready and running. With over 85 locations in Alberta, stop into your local Napa store or visit NapaCanada.com for all your trusted parts, tools, equipment, and automotive needs. That's Napa know-how.
Back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Tonight's Lotto Max, an estimated $25 million. Get your ticket at PlayAlberta.ca. You can also stream us on Oilers Nation Facebook, YouTube, and X. And if you're one of those people who's on Instagram wanting to watch content for long periods of time, check out Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Wanya Gretz, Declan Kruger, Liam Peace with you here at the Ewell Studio in West Edmonton Mall. Lots to get to on this show today as we preview the weekend in sports. Of course, the Oilers taking on the Leafs tomorrow at 5 o'clock. Last night, they fell to the Detroit Red Wings 3-2 in overtime, a game in which they led 2-0. Let's get into it right now with Mark Spector in the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. They are hiring. You can work for a fantastic company that loves to promote from within with great benefits. They're also huge sports fans. It's GS Construction. Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet joins us now. Spec, thank you for coming on a little bit earlier today.
Pleasure. Just sitting here down at Rogers watching the tail end of a Toronto Maple Leafs practice.
How are the Leafs looking today?
Well, they're looking like a hockey team that's practicing hard. I see lots of sweat and determination and a fair bit of blue and white jerseys. Connor, I can tell you that.
Is Austin Matthews leading not only a captain but a nation? Does he have that look in his eye?
Oh, yeah. He's a determined man. Weeks before the beginning.
Oh, man, he's going to take him far in that tournament. Spec, let's go back to last night in that rink. We saw John Klingberg make the debut for the Edmonton Oilers, and for, I think, parts of that, kind of looked like a guy who hadn't played in a long time, but there were some encouraging signs. One for me, taking a hit and getting back up and being healthy. So what did you make of his first game with the Oilers?
Yeah, I think to me it was like you wanted to watch him play and it'd be like a referee where you leave the rink and go, who reffed the game tonight? I didn't even notice. And to be honest, he was manning on the first goal, the deflection goal by Detroit. He was kind of fronting the Detroit player who tipped that puck in. I will say that. You know, he'd like not to have that happen, but we see that every night. By and large, very good for a guy jumping in mid-season who hasn't played a game for 14 months. You got to remember, everyone around him is flying. The game is at its absolute peak. He hasn't played for 14 months, and he came out there and, you know, I thought he moved the puck well. His defending was adequate. It can only get better from there. So if that's the worst game he plays, you know what? The Oilers might have a top 4 D-man here. Let's wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, as time rolls on here, that's going to be the biggest thing. If it stays healthy, continues this, I assume he's only going to get better. And, you know, I saw a few times where he got the puck in his own end. He's looking up ice, looking to make that outlet pass, which is fantastic. I'm sure the Oilers top end forward is going to absolutely love that. What did you make of the team as a whole, going up 2-0 and then giving it all back and losing in the shootout?
Well, it was one of those games where, frankly, they were a little bit fortunate to be up 2-0. You know, both those goals had a little bit of a smell on them, right? Sherratt should have cleared that puck. It ends up on Draisaitl's stick. He scores. Lyon pulls the puck in towards him to freeze it. He misses it. It's sitting there for Skinner. So Edmonton got 2 lucky goals. And then when they started to really earn some chances, they got some bad luck, right? Lyon made some great saves. Leon Draisaitl hits a post that he almost never hits. He buries that puck all year long. So in the end, they were full measure for 2, but they couldn't get to 3. And, you know, I hate to repeat myself, but it's a 3-2 league. The difference between getting to 3 is, you know, you get to 3 every night, you're going to play 750 hockey in this league. And they couldn't get to 3, right? They couldn't get to 3. And full marks to Detroit. I haven't seen a guy dominate a hockey game, not in an Oilers jersey like Larkin did last night, for a long time. Oh my God, Dylan Larkin was so good in that game. When he came down on the breakaway in the shootout, I was almost cheering for him to score it. I mean, it was a perfect capper on a night for a guy who was absolutely the best player on the ice by 10.
Yeah, I'll say they have some nice players on that team. I thought Marco Kasper on the power play looked like a threat. Lucas Raymond's a really good player, and Coach McCullough got them going in the right direction. Now, I don't know if you've seen this. Social media can be toxic at times, but there's some people out there curious about Connor McDavid and his play, thinking maybe not his best performance. He played 25 minutes, had 7 shots, 26 minutes essentially. Some people saying maybe he's got the flu or anything. What did you make of the captain's play last night?
It wasn't his night. You know, I've never seen him give a puck away in overtime maybe 3 times, which he did last night. That's just completely rare. Usually the puck's on his stick and the game ends within 30 seconds. So he did give some, he mishandled some pucks last night, but he's had 7 shots on net. Like, remember, guys go entire careers without getting 7 shots on net in a game. So I'm not going to criticize Connor McDavid. It didn't go his way. It wasn't the best night he's ever had. He had an assist in the game. He set up a couple guys that I thought that wraparound was going in for sure. It took a fantastic save by Lyon to keep it out. So don't think I'm coming on here and telling you bad things about Connor McDavid because he only got 1 assist and 7 shots on goal last night. What are you kidding me here?
Yeah. I don't want to say he's immune to criticism, but I think we've seen a lot worse. And even Leon Draisaitl last night, 10 shots. Man, if he just doesn't hit the post, that's 2 inches to the left. Could be a totally different game, and we're not even talking about it. Yeah. Mark Schlichter joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley and Wanye Gratz with you. This topic came up during the break. Wanye and our interim Liam talking about Jeff Skinner, 2 goals in 2 straight now. When you look at him, he's got more goals on the season than guys like Victor Arvidsson, who obviously missed some time, but Adam Henrique, Connor Brown, goals in 2 straight. I know last time he scored a goal, he had found himself out of the lineup in the next game. But what have you thought of Jeff Skinner the last couple games here? Last night was kind of fortunate, but they don't ask how, right?
Yeah, listen, when things start going your way, you start getting some breaks. That was just a fluky goal that he was standing in the right place and got to score it. Good for him. The thing about Jeff Skinner is he doesn't, Connor Brown kills a bunch of penalties for you. He's a third line kind of grinder guy. Adam Henrique takes a bunch of key faceoffs. He kills penalties for you, scores a little bit. Jeff Skinner scores. And you'd have to tell me sort of the next thing that his role is. He's not killing penalties. He's not on the power play. So he needs to score to stay in the lineup, and that's what he's doing. I'm not sure. I don't even equate him to third-line guys like Janmark and Brown and Henrique. He's not what they are. They're different guys. You can't have a team full of guys who score goals, right? Someone's got to kill a penalty out there. Someone's got to protect the lead. Someone's got to block a shot. So sure, he's got more goals than Connor Brown. It doesn't make him a more valuable player, right? So, he is earning. The big question for me, Connor, and I want you to chime in on this. If Klingberg turns out to be a top 4 defenseman, and we're not there yet, but let's just say for the sake of this argument, if Klingberg turns out to be a top 4 defenseman, you don't need to get one of those at the trade deadline. What are you getting at the trade deadline? Are you finding a left winger that has more scoring ability than Vasily Podkolzin? To me, that's what you're looking for. Well, maybe Jeff Skinner is starting to earn himself one more shot next to Draisaitl before you go out and trade for someone who does that. What do you think?
I like it. If it all works out with Klingberg and he is good to go, and I don't know if we're gonna have enough time to know for sure before the trade deadline. So I'm curious if they still look to bring someone in anyways. But I agree with you. Someone else, a shooter, like someone who can finish, I think would be a fantastic ad. And don't know who that name might be, but have to take a look to see who might be available. But I would have absolutely no issue with that. And I know Hyman and Nuge have been McDavid's running mates for a while, but if Nuge is still kind of fighting it a little bit here, and just coming off how well he played, I thought as a third line center in McDavid's absence, I'd love for them to go kind of big game hunting and find McDavid a shooter to pair with Hyman. Because he had some plays last night. He needs guys to finish. I wouldn't mind him taking a look there either.
Well, fair. I mean, that's I feel like at least McDavid has a 40-goal, 50-goal man in Hyman on his wing, and they work together great. They're going to play together in the playoffs. That's your top 2 guys. I watched that game last night. They win that game if Draisaitl has a finisher on either side of him.
Yeah.
He's given pucks to Podkolzin. He's given pucks to Arvidsson. They're not going in, and they don't win the game because of it. I feel like the next shooter who gets acquired by the Edmonton Oilers shouldn't go to McDavid. It should go to Draisaitl. And I'll be honest with you, I've watched Jeff Skinner play enough here. He's playing hard. He's playing well. He's doing everything he knows how to do. I don't think his game jives with Draisaitl. I don't see him as a shooter. I see him as a guy who wants to carry the puck, right? He wants the puck in the stick and make some moves before he shoots it. What Draisaitl needs is a guy like Zucker or a guy like Paul Mary or one of these guys that the puck's not on a stick very long. That, to me, is what Leon Draisaitl requires.
We got a question in from Paul. He wants to ask you what you think of the Oilers' experiment with frequent line changes. Follows up that he feels that frequent line changes are hurting the goal production.
I don't think so. I don't. They are struggling. Listen, Paul. They're in the. Was it Paul, the guy that sent that in? Yeah, Paul. They're in the middle of something here. Okay, we're deep in the season. We're in January. It's kind of the dog days here. You can kind of tell the way they're playing. Their focus isn't great. They've got a bunch of guys sick. Ekholm's been sick for a week. Klingberg didn't show up at practice today. He's sick. It's just that time of year. Their focus, it's not great. There's a big break coming up. They're looking forward to it. So you're not getting the best Edmonton Oilers right now. But I want to say to you, they've got 7 of the last 8 points, and they played 750 hockey in January. Okay? 750 hockey. Like, for a team that's not playing great, getting 750 hockey out of your team is awfully, awfully good here. So I see what Knobloch's doing. He's trying to keep everybody interested. He's trying to, if he sees a guy that's having it looks like Corey Perry is going to get some ice time with McDavid tomorrow against the Leafs. He's got a guy down there who's got some life. He's got some jump. He's getting some good karma. Man, I'm going to give this guy a shot, right? He's searching and looking for somebody who can bring a little life to the table, because it's a bit of a lifeless team right now. This happens. They're going to get back from the break. They're going to all be refreshed. You're going to get a brand new team. And I'm here to tell you, if at their worst, they're playing 750 hockey, people, I don't think you got much to complain about out there.
Always something.
Well, think about Connor and Leon had 17 shots between them yesterday, and people are like, I don't know what's happening.
Right. 17 shots. Oh, they only scored 1 goal. It's going to happen.
2 other guys had 17 shots. They'd be issuing coins at the mint.
No kidding, eh? They'd do a stamp if anyone used it anymore.
Well, Spec, thanks for doing this. Enjoy the rest of Leafs practice and the game tomorrow. We'll talk to you on Monday.
All right, boys, have a great weekend.
There you go. That's Mark Spec to the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to head out east to Toronto. But we're not talking Leafs yet. We're going to talk some Blue Jays and some Major League Baseball with Shai Davidi of Rogers Sportsnet. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Also, Oilers Nation, Facebook, YouTube, and X. Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like Johnson, the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
A bedtime story by Zachary Martin Hyman.
The hockey game's over. The Zamboni sleeps soon. I lay down in comfort. Legacy heating my room. Good night to you, furnace, with your hot blower running. Good night to you, air vents, keeping the warm air coming. Good night to my payments that I won't see for 1 year. Good night to my legacy. Bedtime is near.
Warm winter nights. That's how you soothe your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients. Better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients. Better pizza. Papa John's. That's Sports20.
Introducing the Female Super League. Female hockey is on the rise with more women playing the game than ever. Join us as we pave the way for the future of women's hockey. The FSL is more than a game. It's a movement and an experience for the motivated female athlete. Teams will compete in a showcase-style format featuring consistent interprovincial competition. Come be part of the journey as the 2024-25 season unveils a 12U division, as well as the launch of a groundbreaking progressive body-checking 14U division. For more information, visit femalesuperleague.com.
We now have a post-game show on Sports 1440. After the next game, tune in to Andrew Walker as he breaks down the game with you. The post-game show brought to you by the Ridge Social Eatery, St. Albert.
McDonald's presents a hockey showdown like never before. McDavid versus Matthews. There can only be one winner, competing for all the glory and all the prize. The new menu features top shelf plays like the Smoky Quarter Poppy and the Big Mac David, so everybody scores, with even more delicious options like the Spicy Junior Chirpy. Now that calls for a silly Sunday. The Showdown menu, now available at McDonald's.
Every nickel that you don't pay in interest is a nickel back in your pocket. So make a 0% interest deal with your friends at St. Albert Dodge. Right now, you can drive away in Motor Trend's Truck of the Year, the 2025 Ram 1500, with 0% financing. There's a great selection, over 100 on the lot. Or if you'd like to get some cash back to pay off your credit cards and start the year fresh, they can help you with that too. Just head up the trail and see how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Alberta's largest RV sale is back.
The Edmonton RV Adventure Sale and Show.
Powered by Aviva Insurance.
February 6th to 9th at the Edmonton Expo Center.
Discover over 350 specially priced RVs.
From trailers and fifth wheels to diesel pushers and toy haulers.
New this year, the Ask an Expert booth.
Plus, the lifestyle marketplace with local vendors.
And don't miss the world-famous Super Dogs.
It's fun for the whole family.
Tickets at rvda-alberta.org or at the door.
The Edmonton RV Adventure Sale and Show.
Find your wherever home.
Johnson, whoa.
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson. We've been family owned and operated for nearly 50 years, a foundation built on trust. Using our extensive experience, we'll make recommendations with your best interests in mind. So while many heating and air conditioning companies offer specials and huge discounts, financing options, and no overtime charges ever, we'll keep doing what we do best, providing you a quote that is honest and transparent, ensuring you get what's best for your family. Visit wjheats.com today.
Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.244, welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Also streaming on Oilers Nation Facebook, YouTube, and X. Thank you to everyone for tuning in today. If you are streaming, make sure you hit that like button. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz, Declan Kruger, and Liam Peace with you here from the EWEL Studios in West Edmonton Mall. The Jason Gregor Show brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Right now, it's the off season. It's been an interesting one. Peaks and valleys and hope. And, you know, we need to bring in an insider. We need someone who knows exactly what's going on for the Toronto Blue Jays. The baseball report for Legacy Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. If you need service late at night or on weekends, you don't need overtime charges. That's how you build a legacy at legacyheating.ca. We're bringing Shai Davidi from Sportsnet, baseball columnist. Shai, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
I'm all right. What's going on?
Oh, not a whole lot. Obviously, when we said we're going out to Toronto, I think a lot of people thought Leafs, because Oilers-Leafs meeting tomorrow down at Rogers Place. But we're going to talk some Toronto Blue Jays. And big news, Max Scherzer signing with the club yesterday, 40 years old. Big name, though. How much does he have left, and what do you think of this signing for the Jays?
Yeah, it's a really interesting move, and that deal is still pending a physical, so it's not completely done yet, but it really is something that the Blue Jays were looking for all season. They were looking at a starting pitcher, and when it came down to it, they made a bit of an upside bet here, because you mentioned how much does he have left, and that really is a $1 million question with a pitcher who is going to turn 41 over the course of the season and is coming off a season in which he made just 9 starts because of a recovery from back surgery in the 2 winters ago, as well as a couple other injuries. So this is something that the Blue Jays were really focused on for a little bit of time. They felt that they got to a point where they were comfortable with sort of where his stuff was going to be, and had enough faith that he still will be able to be effective when healthy. And they believe that he's figured out some things after the difficult year last year, that he's going to be a better spot physically. So that is the risk, some of the risk there. But the upside is that you get the competitiveness and drive of one of the best pitchers of this generation.
Now, where do you think he would slot, assuming he does pass the physical, into this rotation?
Well, you probably think in the number 4 spot, but some of that will also depend on how the Blue Jays want to line up to open the season and how they see the schedule playing out. So that's something that they'll sort of consider. But I would look at him as a guy you slot in behind Kevin Gausman and Jose Barrios and Chris Bassett, and then you go to Max Scherzer with Bowden Francis sliding down at 5.
Shai Davidi joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley sitting in, talking Toronto Blue Jays and taking a look around the majors. And his resume, extremely impressive. 8-time All-Star, 2 World Series, also 3-time Cy Young. What do you think he'll bring to the clubhouse?
Well, I think with him, it's all about winning, right? There's a hyper competitiveness, and he wouldn't be coming to the Blue Jays if he didn't think there was at least a pathway to the postseason here. And so he's going to demand a lot of himself. He'll demand a lot of his teammates, and he'll want to see the same type of fire that he plays with. Now, very few players can match him in terms of competitiveness and determination, and there's a reason why he's somebody who's going to probably be a Hall of Famer in the future. But I think anytime you bring that kind of element, that type of person, it commands instant respect, it's instant credibility. But the Blue Jays didn't do this for what he's the intangibles that he's going to bring. That's a nice benefit, but they need him to be able to perform a little bit too. That's really key to all this.
Earlier in the offseason, they went out and got Anthony Santander from the Baltimore Orioles, and a guy who, in his past has had big seasons, but career highs in home runs and RBIs. What are the expectations for him with this team, and how much of it will be in a DH role, do you think?
That'll be interesting in terms of how many DH reps he gets. I think the Blue Jays will want to use him there a little bit, but I think that'll also be part of just how they're managing other guys in the lineup too. Do they need to move some players around? Does somebody end up in left field based on matchups and things of that nature? But the Blue Jays are counting on Santander to be a significant presence in the middle of their lineup, the way that he has been with the Orioles the past few years. They need him to be a 30 plus home run guy, 100 plus RBI guy, somebody to really make pitchers think twice if they're intent on pitching around Vladimir Guerrero. And, my expectation is that he'll end up hitting behind Guerrero in some way, shape, or form, but we'll see how that ultimately lines up. But, Vladimir Guerrero, for the last couple of years, pitching around him has been relatively consequence-free. And now with Santander there, pitchers will have to, there'll be somebody who could put the ball over the fence and make you pay for walking Vlad. So I think that's a big part of this. And if he's able to give the Blue Jays that kind of production, well, it can really be transformational for the offense.
Now, Vlad signed a great contract, $28.5 million for the season. Crazy to think he's still just 26 years old. Seems like he's been with this team for so long, but UFA status on the horizon, a guy who obviously is going to get a big deal. What are the chances that it is in Toronto? And if not, who do you think could be in pursuit of him?
Well, there's going to be, I'd expect that there will be one last push. You set a deadline for discussions on a long-term extension of the first full squad workout of the spring. So that's February 18th. So time is ticking there. And I expect there'll be a push between the sides between now and then to get a long-term deal done. What are the chances? I ultimately just think this is really going to come down to, are the Blue Jays comfortable making the type of commitment that players of his ilk headed for free agency command? And, Juan Soto probably changed the yardsticks there a little bit. Can they find that sweet spot where Vladimir Guerrero Jr. slots in behind that? That's really what the coming negotiation is going to all be about. Now, in terms of other suitors, potential suitors for him, I think you can look at a handful of teams who will be able to provide the type of contract that he'll command, right? The Mets, especially if Pete Alonso doesn't end up returning there, become a pretty interesting fit as they seek to keep pace with the Dodgers and sort of this incredible arms race that the two teams are having there. The Yankees could be a potential fit. They've got Goldschmidt on the 1-year deal. The Red Sox don't have a long-term option at first base. Those are a handful of teams. You can never count the Dodgers out, especially with Freddie Freeman getting older, and maybe they want to transition him to a little bit more DH. So I think that those are some of the potential teams who could be involved. The Angels, if they're looking for an impact player, there's obviously a connection there with his dad. So I don't think that the market would be short for him. And that's really what the Blue Jays are trying to negotiate against. What would that potential market be if he did walk, and could they possibly retain him if he got to free agency?
Now, do you think there's a number that the Jays would have in mind that they'd be comfortable paying him? Obviously, they've been willing to spend money in the past, but like you said, so to kind of set the bar there, what do you think the number would come in at for a yearly salary?
It's hard to speculate on that, and I wouldn't want to sort of put a number out there that people start clinging to as something that is the right number. But I think to me, you look at this and, Juan Soto signs for $765 million. And even if Vladimir Guerrero Jr. was to get, say, $465 million in a long-term deal, well, is he $300 million less than Juan Soto? I think that's part of what's complicating this a little bit. I mean, you can make the case that in terms of AAV, he maybe should be around $40 million a season. Depending on how that plays out, that would be a record for a first baseman and a very significant one. But Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is taking his peak years into the market. And so there's a premium for that. So I think those are a few of the elements that go into play there. I'm sure the Blue Jays have a number in mind. I'm sure Vladdy's camp has a number in mind. And can they get to a spot where they share common ground? And that's really the challenge.
Shai Davidi of Rogers Sportsnet joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show, taking a look around the majors. I want to ask you, you talked about that arms race between the Dodgers and the Mets, spending a lot of money. We're seeing deferred payments by the LA Dodgers, kind of changing the game there. Do you like this sort of thing where you've got these 2 or 3 teams really just handing out massive paydays, loading up on all the talent?
I don't have a problem with it. For me, I think if you're a fan, you want your owner to be like the Dodgers and the Mets, who are doing everything possible to try and put the best team out there, right? And there's certainly been a lot of conversation about deferred money and those deals and what that entails. But, I don't think deferred money is nefarious in any means. It's really just accounting and bookkeeping, and, smart money managers can essentially get contracts to subsidize themselves while players guarantee themselves essentially good retirement package because they're getting paid well beyond what their playing days are. So I don't see an issue with that. And I think ultimately, look, we're here in Canada, we focus a lot on the NHL, and you see so many teams have to break up cores. Obviously, the salary cap is something that the Edmonton Oilers have wrestled with in recent years, something the Maple Leafs have wrestled with. I'd rather allow these teams to try and be the best that they can be once they assemble a good group of young players, and not have to sacrifice from that just because of a salary cap. But, I understand that markets aren't equal and there's a desire for parity, and that's where a lot of the other argument comes from. But, ultimately, I think I'm a meritocracy. You're in the biggest market. You have the biggest amount of revenue to work with. You deserve some benefits attached to that.
All right, Shai, well, thanks so much for doing this today. Really appreciate it. We're just a couple weeks away from Pitchers and Catchers reporting. Yeah, it's going to be fantastic. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, I appreciate it. You as well.
There you go. That is Shai Davidi of Rogers Sportsnet joining us, talking some Major League Baseball. And if you're a long-time Dodgers Mets fan,
where a lot of the other argument comes from,
I know you're loving the Dodgers offseason. I will say this. There was a time when there was a few players playing with the Mets. Jose Reyes, and there was another one, David Wright, I want to say. I went to West Edmonton Mall, and I was looking for a Mets hat. I was done with the Blue Jays. I said, I'm becoming a Mets fan, which was funny because few years later, Reyes became a Blue Jay, and then they had their little run with Donaldson and Bautista, Encarnacion, all those guys, and the Mets sucked. But now, had I been a Mets fan and hung on a little bit longer, could have been pretty cool. But they didn't sell Mets hats at Lids, so I didn't become a fan.
That's crazy. They don't sell Mets hats.
Well, maybe they were all sold out. I don't know.
It's a testament to how terrible the Mets are long term.
It was destiny for me to just stick around with the Jays.
I like that you're like, the Jays don't please me. Who is renowned for being even more terrible? I'll go cheer for them.
I like their colors.
That's not a reason to cheer for a team.
Well, I was young, impressionable. I don't know. Maybe it was just a low point. Like there was a decade of darkness. The Chargers sucked. Raptors weren't ever going to do anything. This is pre-2019. It was a moment of weakness, and fate said, "Don't do it, Connor." Maybe some guy bought the last Mets hat just before me.
Probably not. They're probably like, no one wants Mets hats. We should stop ordering them. It's like you're an NFL fan. You're like, I'm tired of losing. I'll be a Browns fan going forward. I'll hitch my star to their renowned wagon.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they got bad karma. Walter says, meh, deferred money is treating the system. Darren from Ardrawson says, glad he's going to the Mets. See, that's what it could have been. And Brian says, still can't grasp how large MLB contracts are. Brian, you and me both, my man. They are huge.
Can I just jump back to something Spec was saying before?
Very quickly.
Klingberg?
That was the MLB report for Legacy Heating.
Sorry, buddy. I didn't realize that was part of it. Klingberg might be found money. Like, if he's truly a top 4 defenseman, and I know that we're not supposed to say that, one game doesn't a career maketh. Imagine, though, how much help that provides.
Absolutely. I mean, if it were to happen, and you kind of go back and look at the Oilers, like the last few years of Evander Kane, when he was brought on, I mean, they had to give him a little money, but it cost you nothing. Corey Perry cost you nothing. John Klingberg could cost you nothing. Nothing in terms of assets. Cost you money. But that's the benefit of McDavid and Draisaitl and being a good team, right? You see it all the time. Like, vets will go places, sign for less. Maybe they, there's a reason here or there that they're not playing with another team. We know what the reasons for all 3 of those guys have been. But like you just kind of say, okay, well, I can try and win. I'm going to be in the best position for me to have success to parlay that into another contract. And we might as well go play with some of the best players in the world. Now, granted, it's a little chilly right now, but that's okay. Wait till spring when you get on that long run. You'll be wearing shorts to the rink. It's beautiful here in the summer.
He's from Northern Europe. He's fine with snow.
Oh, absolutely. I think it was Matthias Ekholm and his family. He's like, oh, finally snow again. I loved it.
That undoes the damage of Broberg getting pinched.
Hypothetically, yeah.
If he is as good as... me, I'm a big fan of counting my chickens before they hatch.
Yeah.
One of my top 5 interests. If, in fact, he's a top 4 defenseman, because Broberg stung the program. Let's not kid ourselves, Connor. Can't just have a Broberg walk out the door when defensemen don't just grow on trees. To have him come in, what's his cap hit?
Oh, it's like league min.
Oh,
essentially.
Perfect.
Did Broberg ever wear number 36?
Not to my knowledge.
I don't know why. Like, it'd be funny if he did. I don't know if he actually did. I don't even know why I said that. I looked it up. He officially, in a regular season at least, never did. Sean Horkoff did. Jarrett Stoll did. Philip Larson did. And Drake Kajula did. As did a few others. Remember Yoel Person? Joel Person?
What year?
2020. No.
How many games? Very rarely am I stumped. I don't remember. What was he?
I want to say it was Yoel Person. I don't know off the top of my head. He played 13 games in his NHL career.
Really?
All of which with the Oilers. 2 assists. Right on the back end.
How did he relate to what we're talking about, Connor?
He wore number 30.
I see what you're talking.
Yeah. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little more NHL. The salary cap going up. That's a good sign. We'll be joined by Kevin McGran, covers the Toronto Maple Leafs for the Toronto Star. We'll hear Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. We'll be joined by Craig Button, Alan Mitchell, Zach Lang. A whole lot more to get to here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Juan Greg, Stephen Cougar, Liam Peace in with you. The show brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. But first, let's get to a Sports 1440 update with Declan Kruger, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. They are hiring HVAC installers and plumbers. Starting bonus to the right candidates. Strong benefits, RRSP matching, tuition reimbursement. Apply today at legacyheating.ca.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
Your Sports 1440 update. 4 games tonight in the NHL. Kicking off the action, we'll see the Predators and Sabres at 5, Canucks and Stars at 6, St. Louis Blues and Colorado Avalanche at 7, and Columbus and Utah at that same mark. In the NBA today, there are 7 games on the schedule. 2 games that kick off the action. We'll see the Clippers in Charlotte versus the Hornets, and the Mavericks in Detroit versus the Pistons. Raptors also in action. They're playing host to the Chicago Bulls with a 5:30 tip-off for that one. 10 games in the WHL tonight, including the Edmonton Oil Kings playing host to the Calgary Hitmen, a 7 p.m. puck drop out at Rogers for that one. 8 games in the BCHL, including the Sherwood Park Crusaders. They're at home against West Kelowna, a 7 p.m. puck drop for that one as well. Vegas Golden Knights have signed winger Brandon Saad to a 1-year prorated $1.5 million contract for the remainder of the season following his contract termination with the St. Louis Blues. And in case you missed it, earlier news from today, the salary cap is expected to jump by $7.5 million in 25-2026, with a rise then to $104 million in the following season and $113.5 million in 27-28. I'm Declan Kruger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is the only place to call for heating your home. So when it's time to replace your old furnace, call Legacy. Call Legacy. Or for 24-hour repair with no overtime rates. Legacy even heats your shower with hot water tanks. Call Legacy. Call Legacy. And with no interest and no payments for 1 year, it could only be Legacy Heating and Cooling.
We've finished construction of our gamma radiation containment facility. Is it up to code? Is it going to be safe?
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Testing team reporting. We test your commercial operations using tools like infrared to ensure safe operation. Trust us to prevent potential calamity before it strikes.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Some things just work together. Sticks and pucks, cleats and AstroTurf. Your love for the game and Papa John's passion for better ingredients, better pizza. Nothing pairs with the game like Papa John's. Crafted with signature sauce, toppings, and original fresh dough. They're the champion of pizza. And now you're the champion of winning deals. Just order at papajohns.ca. Use promo code SPORTS20 and score 20% off any regular menu price order. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's. That's Sports20.
You don't know what awaits you on the road to come, but with the 2025 XC90 from Volvo of Edmonton, you'll have the versatility to take on whatever life throws at you. The new XC90, a luxurious SUV with seating for up to 7, boasts newly upgraded body and wheel design. It's the perfect choice to drive into the coming year. And right now, you'll save $4,500 and lease from 1.49% on all in-stock 2025 XC90s. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Once upon a Battle of Alberta, WHL style, your Edmonton Oil Kings host extra special royalty in Ice District. Tonight, it's the first ever Oil Kings Princess Night at Rogers Place as Edmonton looks to defeat the Calgary Hitmen. Fans can dress up as their favorite royal and find princesses roaming the concourse all night for the ultimate selfie. Plus, score Calmont Kids food combos for $10 or less. The value is king-sized. Edmonton Oil Kings Princess Night, this evening at 7. Happily Ever After entertainment at Rogers Place starts at just $20 a seat. Tickets and more at oilkings.ca.
It's the Bricks Friends and Family Sale. For 4 days only, they're extending their VIP offers to everyone. Save up to 30% off sofas, sectionals, bedroom, and dining. Save up to 40% off mattresses. And get a 10% credit to use towards sleep accessories. Save up to $1,000 off major kitchen appliances. Up to $600 off big screen TVs, plus VIP in-store only deals on appliances and electronics. Some exclusions apply. Visit thebrick.com for details. The Brick, saving you more.
How do you beat those winter blues? How about a double shot of classic rock? River Cree Resort and Casino proudly presents Helix and Swedes. February 28th, live in the venue. Helix and Suite. Get your tickets now at rivercreekresort.com.
River Cree Resort and Casino. Excitement. Bet on it.
Looking at the Alberta weather forecast, wild, unpredictable, brutally tough.
When the
this
weather
year.
turns tough, Titan Supply doesn't back down. Titan Supply has been protecting workers from conditions like this for 50 years. We stand tall with you against the elements with the industry's best rigging, hauling, and lifting products to get you home safe. Tire chains, wire rope, round slings, chain slings, and a whole lot more. Titan Supply in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary. Online at titansupply.ca. Lift, dig, haul.
Sports 1440 coming to you live from the EWEL studios, where the real power play is to shop at ewell.ca for all your electrical needs 24/7. ewell.ca is your partner in power. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz, Declan Kruger, Liam Peace with you here. Oilers Nation, YouTube, X, Facebook. The Jason Gregor Show brought to you by playalberta.ca. Our question up at YouTube: where will you be watching the game? In Rogers Place, at home, at a bar, or I won't be watching. My favorite part about this, I won't be watching has 0 votes. Everybody's watching. Where will you be watching, Wanye?
Wanye Manor with Wanye Jr., who is quite enthusiastic and is wearing his Oilers shirt today.
5 o'clock start. That's good for the kids.
He's ready.
We got a message here from J319. Have we already talked about Saad with Vegas? No, we haven't. Yes, Brandon Saad, who obviously had the contract termination from the St. Louis Blues. Didn't maybe love what was going on there. He was a free agent. And per reports, he's signing with the Las Vegas Golden Knights on a prorated $1.5 million contract. He 32 years old. Obviously, we know the pedigree. Won cups with the Chicago Blackhawks earlier on in his career. Not quite the year he wanted to have with St. Louis, I suppose. Good money. I walked away from it for a chance to go to a bit of a contender. Just looking at the Vegas Golden Knights lineup here. You got Stone, Eichel, Barbashev. Probably not going in there. Olofsson, Hurdle, Dorofeev, Lavoie. Oh no, is he going to bump out Raphael Lavoie? Is that what's going to happen here? Nicholas Roy and Keegan Colasar, Cal Burke, Brett Howden, Tanner Pearson. So, hey, that's a good depth signing. You know, he gets to go live in Vegas, which I imagine would be kind of cool. Get out of the Midwest. Might be a little snowy right now. Get to the heat. It's a good move for Vegas.
Would you want to play in Vegas if you're in the NHL, Connor?
Yeah. Maybe not when I was younger, but a lot of them live off the strip. I mean, we've all been to Vegas, and I don't know, I've flown in a few times and talked to locals on the plane, and they're like, never go to the strip. We go there maybe once a year if like family comes to visit. So maybe outside the strip, it's kind of normal. But if I was young, you got a night off, you might go out to the club, right? So it could be a bit of a distraction, but you can do that anywhere. You could do that at the Pint.
I think Vegas is singular in its design to separate you from the money in your wallet and introduce your liver to bulk alcohol. It would be extremely difficult, especially as a younger. Like, I can see when you have a kid, and there is a larger life in Vegas outside of the strip.
Yeah.
But as you said, if I'm like 21 years old and I'm making $3 million US, Vegas has a special team of people employed to help me lose my money. It's the only city other than Macau that employs these types of professionals.
Yeah, and I mean the texts come in here for Who did it come from? Tiger? Let me just confirm here. They all live in Henderson, which is the home of their AHL affiliate, the Henderson Silver Knights. You're away from it all, but at the same time, you're not that far away from it. Like, you're a quick rip in to the rink, but the rink is right on the strip. So it's, hypothetically, if you wanted to say, you got a couple days off, you have to practice the next day. I think their training facility might actually be outside of the city, but you could get a suite at, not the Mirage, Treasure Island, and go for a good night. Head back home after.
I feel like, especially if you're a young NHL player, like, we should go for a super nice dinner. There you're at the strip. We should go and see a show. There you are at the strip. We should go and play Baccarat until 5 a.m. on a game day. There you are. You're back at the strip.
Yeah. But you know what? There's lots of shows outside the strip. They're not maybe as good.
Put it to you this way. You play for the Utah Hockey Club. You're like, hey, should we go to the strip? And they're like, there's no strip. We're in Utah. And then you're like, I guess I'll stay home and hydrate.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, it's on the player, right? And I'm sure the younger guys have all done it. Bit of a crazy night, got away from them. Then you're playing guilty.
Didn't they do an analysis of the Vegas flu, the teams that were playing there versus their traditional road record? And they are like noticeably worse when they're in Vegas.
You have to do it across all sport, I think.
Just in the NHL, I think.
Because like in the NHL, Vegas has always been good.
But maybe this is why. They are always playing weakened opposition.
Let's go check their home versus away. But I don't know. I remember like when the Oilers were playing them in the playoffs, the Oilers would always come in with their coffee cups and you could see the hotel they were staying at. Not on the strip. Like, they're away from it all.
It's good investigative work, Connor.
Well, I was curious. Is that Starbucks? No, it's from their hotel.
I too zoom in on Oilers photos on social media.
For their coffee.
Sure.
I got a text in here a little while ago from Nails. Which Oilers numbers are retired? So you got 3, Al Hamilton, 4, Kevin Lowe, 7, Paul Coffey, 9, Glenn Anderson, 11, Mark Messier, almost said Mark Spector, 17, Yari Curry, 31 for Fear, and of course 99 for Gretzky.
You're forgetting one, Connor.
Rod Phillips.
64, Nail Yakupov.
Well,
that has been retired now 3 seasons. Well deserved, Nail.
And 64.
He posted today. He's in the KHL All-Star game.
Oh, right on. Good for him.
Great.
Al Hamilton, Klingberg wore 3 everywhere else in his career, but couldn't wear that in Edmonton. 13, taken.
Found money.
Yeah, well, don't hold on to that dream too tightly yet.
Spec said, don't get ahead of yourself. And I'd already gotten ahead of myself. It was too late.
Texts continue to roll in here. Fuzzy says, Marky Mark moved from Vegas or to Vegas from Cali. Kai says their training facility is in Summerlin, northwest part of the city, and the arena is kind of on the strip, but also right on the interstate. Yeah, I mean, right beside, I think from the MGM, whatever it's called, you got a nice view of it. The old Monte Carlo.
Who texted me about Marky Mark?
Fuzzy,
listen to me. I'm pretty sure I saw Marky Mark's house on YouTube. If it's the same house I'm thinking of, he probably has 10 houses. It is like enormous and has a private 2-hole golf course. So sure, Marky Mark can live in Vegas and be like, hey, I wonder how the greens are rolling on my 2-hole golf course. The typical NHL player is living in an apartment with a view of the strip.
He popped up on my YouTube ads once. He's like, hey, this is a little weird. Would you like to pray with me? He's a part of like a prayer app.
Marky Mark?
Yeah.
That is weird. Well said, Marky Mark.
I said, skip. Brad says Park MGM. That's the one. They got rid of the smoking in there. I think it's very close to T-Mobile. Even like New York's pretty close. I think there's a Hello Kitty coffee shop outside. Michelle said, oh, sorry.
I was going to say, if I'm taking religious advice from a Wahlberg, it's Donnie. Then Marky Mark.
Donnie hosting very scary people.
Yeah. If he has a religious app, I might give it a download, but not Marky Mark's. No way.
Michelle texted in, I just read that Scotty Scheffler injured himself and had to miss a couple games. Scotty Scheffler. Games?
Weekends,
tournaments. Anywho, from making ravioli, what is the funniest way athletes or you have injured yourself? I always think of Dustin Penner when I'm eating pancakes. I've pulled an intercostal muscle from coughing that took 6 weeks to heal. Ooh. With a cough on top of that. Weird broken feet. Who was it? There's like a Broncos quarterback that said he slipped on his dog and fell down the stairs. Was it Eric Johnson who rode the golf cart?
This is all some Final Destination stuff.
Yeah.
Daniel Cormier, former light heavyweight and heavyweight champion in the UFC, threw his back out vacuuming and sneezing, I think. Or maybe just sneezing. Something incredibly 60-year-old mannish while he was heavyweight champion of the world.
Dustin Penner injuring himself eating or making pancakes?
Eating, I think. I think it was his wife's pancake.
It was a pretty dark year. That was the highlight for me, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
Was Dustin Penner injuring himself eating pancakes. We had a good laugh about that on Twitter while we cried about 82 games of heartache.
I once, while playing pickup basketball with my friends, tried to kick a pop can off a little cement like pole. It was like a foot off the ground and I missed it and I just kicked this pole. Thought I broke my foot. Really embarrassing. Like, I don't even know what I was mad about. Like, I missed the jumper or something.
You really took that game seriously, didn't you, Connor?
Oh, houseboating. Got my, this is not a great, we docked, if you've ever been houseboating, and the hot tub always overflows and like pours all over the thing. And alcohol was a factor as well, but had a little bit of a slip. Sunglasses went right into my eyebrow. I had to go get stitches and like a tetanus shot. That was more so just embarrassing, humbling. Like, take it easy.
Now, just hold on. You were drunk on a houseboat?
Yeah.
Proud of you.
Guilty.
Well done.
So this little boat comes and takes us, middle of the shoe swaps. $500. We get to whatever the town is, drive in. The guys on the boat are like, hey, we'll take you back. Unfortunately, it's $500 flat rate. Not us. It's our boss. What kind of beer do you want? And I'm thinking, do I need more beer?
Yes.
Yes. The way back, pitch black. Only sight is through like sonar or whatever. And we're just talking with these two guys who ended up coming on our boat and having another beer. And we're like, so what if we hit something? They're like, oh yeah, we'd be dead. So I'm like, okay, hopefully we don't hit Pogo or anything like that.
You're like, that's terrible news. Good thing I'm drunk.
Yeah, it was a little bit scary. I don't know though. Are you any bad injuries for you? Funny ones?
Well, nothing's funny. I'll tell you that when you get injured.
It's true.
Not too bad. No, I've never broken any bones. Knock on wood.
Propane Pete, who was the snowblower guy, Joe Sakic, stuck his hand in the snowblower. Mangled up his hand pretty good.
He did?
Yeah. My snowblower has a little stick you use. I think it was because of Joe Sakic. He says, must have been a pretty good pancake. Bhutan seemed to cut their fingers cutting limes. Brad just sends in a picture. Oh, I wonder if that is the rink from his hotel room from Park Grand Gym. Oh, yeah, that looks awesome. Yeah, right there. Very cool. Great renovations there. No smoking. Nice little market. What was the story about Ty Domi and Mark Wahlberg? Something about fighting. Well, we might have to take a look into that one. What we're going to do is take a break. Lance has got pictures of your sunglasses wound. There is a picture out there. Yeah, I don't know who has it. We took a picture of it. It was a pretty nice gash. A little too close to my eye for comfort, though. Would not recommend. The next time we went there, some guy sliced up his foot really bad. Houseboating's dangerous. You got to be on your P's and Q's if you ever go out there and do that. Walter has a good one. Deanocracy says Donnie Wahlberg was so good in Band of Brothers. Deanocracy also tried Wilhock beef jerky for the first time this week and loved it. So go give them a visit. Walter said he popped his back out while reaching across his desk for a book. Tough one. Okay, break time. When we come back, we are going to talk some NHL. Toronto Maple Leafs are in town. Practice just wrapped up. Kevin McGran of the Toronto Star going to join us. We'll talk some Leafs up next on the Jason Gregor Show. Halley, Wanye, Kruger, peace with you here from the UL Studio in West Edmonton Mall. Jason Gregor Show brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
A premier hockey solution with a clear path for long-term development is proud to be entering its 8th season of independent borderless hockey, featuring provincial and cross-province competition with showcase-style regular season gameplay and a strong commitment to individual skill development. It's an attractive option for those seeking family life balance. The Hockey Super League offers opportunities for both male and female athletes born between 2012 and 2017. Visit hockeysuperleague.com for more information.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply. Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Getting your vehicle sparkling clean doesn't have to cost a fortune. Take it into Hughes today and pay just loonies a wash.
Find us at hughescarwash.com.
Hey, sports fans, we've got a clear choice for you. At Crystal Glass, we provide customers with the perfect glass for any job. From home to auto and even commercial, installation or repairs, we're your team. Call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca. Crystal Glass.
Is it Riverside Motorsports? No. It's Riverside Motorsports. Over 55 years in business, and people still get it wrong.
Guess it's time to get it right.
Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
You know, this year I can't decide what to work on for my New Year's resolution. See, my confidence, my appearance, or my general happiness.
Why not improve all three by finally addressing your hair loss? Hi, I'm Dr. Vancelia. Receding hairlines and bald spots can chip away at your self-image, make you look older, and feel unattractive. Let's discuss your options for regaining a full natural head of hair and make this the year you get your mojo back. Book a free first consultation today at drvancelia.com.
Imagine a family get-together where the smiles are as genuine as the conversations. That's the feeling you get at Nisku Ford, a family-owned dealership where finding a new Ford feels just like catching up with old friends. Swing by during the 2024 model clear-out and take advantage of January rebates of up to $9,000 or access finance rates as low as 0%. The coffee's on, so drive into Nisku Ford or visit niskuford.ca today. Above expectations.
Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, Liam Peace with you here. The Jason Gregor Show brought to you by playalberta.ca. Tonight, Lotto Max worth an estimated $25 million. You can get your tickets at playalberta.ca. Of course, the Edmonton Oilers off today. Back in action tomorrow, taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs at the 5 o'clock puck drop down at Rogers Place. Right now, we're going to get to Around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's presents a hockey showdown for the ages. McDavid versus Matthews. Find out who's the best and try some top-line menu items too, with the Smoky Quarter Poppy or the Big Mac David. The Showdown menu available at McDonald's. Very tasty. Go get yourself the little treat. We're now joined by Kevin McGran, covers the Maple Leafs for the Toronto Star. Kevin, good afternoon. How are things going today?
Not so bad. How about out there in Edmonton?
A little snowy, but nothing we can't get past. We're looking forward to a very good game tomorrow as the Leafs take on the Oilers. Always fun to watch these two star-studded rosters meeting. A nice early puck drop as well for us out here, 5 o'clock. We'll have pregame coverage for you here, 4 to 5, if anyone's looking for that. But the Maple Leafs right now, losers of 3 straight. Before that, won 3 straight. Before that, lost 3 straight. Before that, won 5 straight. What is up with the Maple Leafs and these streaks right now?
I don't know. It's a lot like the stock market, isn't it? Sometimes they're up, sometimes they're down. I tried to put my finger on just what was happening. I mean, they, like most teams, have dealt with a great number of injuries, but I think it sort of belies their depth isn't as strong as they thought it was. And when you take John Tavares and Matt Nye out of your top 6, I think you've really hurt yourself. And Joe Wall has done an excellent job since Anthony Stolarz got hurt in terms of running with the job. But I even think he is sort of worn down a little bit, and it looks like Stolarz is coming back. He'll be off the IR tomorrow. I think Wall's going to play tomorrow. But the combination, the two as a tandem, I think is better than one of them running with the job full time. So I kind of think there's a lot of stuff going on with the team in terms of maybe there is some malaise. But they haven't been on a good long road trip all season. This is their first big one. And I would expect really you'll get the best. I think Austin Matthews loves playing against Connor McDavid.
I was going to bring that up because, I mean, whenever McDavid's in Toronto, obviously there's the talk of the team he grew up cheering for. Do you think the Leafs get up for these matchups with the Oilers?
I think absolutely they do it. Do you remember the bubble? The year was the All-Canadian division. And the Leafs and the Oilers games were the best ones on television, I thought. I think these two teams, they're kind of, no, I wouldn't say mirror images of each other, but they're built in similar ways. They're top-heavy talent that carries a lot of responsibility and question marks in the rest of the lineup that the general manager is continually trying to address. Edmonton got there first. I think the acquisition a couple of years back in Matthias Ekholm really stabilized that blue line in a big way, kind of remade it. And I think the acquisition of Chris Tanev this year by the Maple Leafs has done the same for the Leaf blue line. So I think these two teams, I think they've got for teams that only play each other twice a year, I think that year in the North Division really, really helps solidify what could be a really good rivalry for the two Canadian teams. The Leafs love playing the Oilers.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a lot of fun. You never know what's going to happen. And, going back to the Ryan Reeves hit on Darnell Nurse, adding a little fuel to the fire. So I'm wondering if we might see anything between those two guys tomorrow.
Well, the way they practice today, it looks like Reeves is going to be the odd man out. But you never know. Sometimes, like Tavares and Nyes haven't officially been active. They practice in full today, so there could be some game time decisions there.
Oh, maybe it won't be that big of a deal then. Maybe it'll be Kai Bosch. Kevin McGran joining us here, covers the Toronto Maple Leafs with the Toronto Star. Now, how has Craig Berube changed things up a little bit since Sheldon taking over for Sheldon Keefe, who had the regular season success, but it just never really worked for them in the playoffs?
Well, the big thing with Craig Berube is, I guess, playing a north-south game. And for the Maple Leafs, what that's done, I think it sort of affected them offensively because these players love to hang on to the puck. Under Sheldon Keefe, this team, if they couldn't break through the neutral zone, they would retreat, go back, try it again. They often, last year in particular, they got themselves into a lot of trouble in their own end when they retreat. Like they cause themselves headaches. And Berube likes to go forward and just, if you can't get in, if you can't carry it over, dump it in, chase it. And I think that's a big adjustment. I think that's a big reason why they're not scoring at the same rate as they have under Keefe, as they're giving the puck up more needlessly, I would say, hoping to get it back and create opportunities that way. And they're not really that good at it. So that's definitely a work in progress for them to play the way Berube wants them to play.
Kevin, just looking through this Leafs roster, a lot of big names. Is there anyone maybe flying under the radar that you've been impressed with this season?
Well, there's actually been a few guys. I mean, Chris Tanev, I knew about it as reputation, but watching him play, this guy's a warrior. Jake McCabe is another one that he's been around for a bit, but this year his game has really taken off. He is, in my mind, in my estimation, their best defenseman. And offensively, another good guy from Alberta, Bobby McMahon, has asserted himself. He's a late bloomer. He didn't make the NHL until he was 27, and he's established himself as a goal-scoring force. He plays a perfect north-south game, a lot like Matt Nyes, who's much younger. But Bobby McMahon is kind of he's a fun guy to watch because sometimes you'll see this big guy with the puck and you'll wonder how he beat the defenseman, and you realize, oh, he's a big guy who can skate. So he's kind of a fun one for me.
How is the excitement out east when it comes to the Four Nation Faceoff? I know the Maple Leafs have a player on each team, so that's kind of cool. But we've heard talk about the ticket sales maybe not being there, and there's a lot of skepticism. I know social media is a toxic wasteland, and everyone's going to be negative about everything. But what do you think of this event and just kind of the circumstances surrounding it?
Well, a lot of debate internally at the Toronto Star about what we were going to do to cover it, how we were going to cover it. I finally, I talked my boss into sending me, which is good. So I'll be there. And what my take on it is that all the skeptics are right. This is a tournament with no history, with no background, no traditions. And it's kind of replacing the All-Star game, and the All-Star games themselves have no intensity, no physicality, right? There's no real incentive to win. But I've talked to a few players, including Sidney Crosby today and Austin Matthews today and others in the last couple of weeks. And they believe what I believe. As soon as that puck drops, these guys with their national colors on their back are going to go for it. And once they get engaged, the fans will be engaged. So the tournament could go from 0 to 60. It could be nobody's interested. Nobody's going to, hey, did you see what McDavid did with Crosby? And then everybody will be interested. And in this country, Canada has to get into the final for people to be engaged. It's a weird tournament, round robin, top two teams playing the final. So you could have, there's no exhibition games. There's no real training camp. It's just a bunch of guys playing right off the bat. So anything can happen, which is sort of chaotic. But I think once the games get going, this country will be riveted by it.
Kevin, I was scrolling through tsn.ca today, and out west, we like to think that, the sports network, Toronto Sports Network, kind of pumps up the Maple Leafs, but they have on their main page why Kevin Weeks thinks that the Leafs are a perfect fit for Brad Marchand after the Bruins have lost 5 in a row. Is he the perfect fit for the Maple Leafs, do you think?
Well, wouldn't he be the perfect fit on any team that thinks it's a playoff contender?
I think so.
That's what we do in Toronto. It's always about the Leafs. Like the salary cap went up massively today, and my assignment was, how does this affect Leaf negotiations, right? So it's always about the Leafs. They're the biggest market in hockey, so of course that's where the eyeballs want to read. You got to localize it to it. But I can't personally I love Brad Marchand. He's one of my favorite guys to watch and to talk to. I really can't imagine him in a Maple Leafs uniform, but I might have said the same about, Max Pacioretty, a former Habs captain, wearing the Leafs blue and white this year. So I guess anything can happen.
It's funny because our text lines were all about, is there any chance Brandon Saad comes to Edmonton? And then I Googled Brandon Saad, and it was perfect fit for the Maple Leafs. So, yeah, you know what?
Yeah,
everyone.
He'd be a perfect fit for the Maple Leafs. Connor McDavid would be a perfect fit for the Maple Leafs.
He'd fit right in with their culture, right? Yeah, it's easy. Well, Kevin, thanks so much for doing this today. I really appreciate it. We'll have to get you on again soon.
All right, cheers. Have fun, guys.
There you go. Kevin McGrath covers the Maple Leafs for the Toronto Star. Yeah. Man, Brad Marchand, he'd be a great fit for blank every team. Like, it's funny the way that goes. Why would the Bruins do it, though? They've lost a few games in a row. Granted, I'll give them that. And that makes sense. But still, they're not that far out of the picture. Why would you trade your captain? You're not going full rebuild. Good for clicks, I suppose. That was Around the NHL, brought to you by McDonald's. Oilers taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs tomorrow. 5 o'clock puck drop. Should be a fun one. I was hoping Reeves would be playing, but if he's going to draw out of the lineup, maybe takes away one of the storylines. We did talk about bad injuries. Walter, Billy Chappell messed up his hand chopping wood. Declan, do you remember the Saints kicker or punter that messed up his foot chopping wood?
Oh, now that you mention it, it sounds a little familiar. Who was it?
Oh,
because it was was that what you were leading into? Because I definitely don't remember the name, and I don't really remember the timeline either. I do remember hearing about that situation.
Yeah.
It couldn't have been that long ago.
It wasn't. It couldn't have been. Maybe it wasn't. It was the Jaguars. Chris Hansen.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Double-bladed axe that bounced off a tree stump and went into his right leg.
And what year was it?
Oh, we're going to have to dive into the books here. I'm just getting like the headline of the story.
Let me take a look here.
Had to be like late 90s. I think it was Jack Del Rio. Oh, my goodness. 2003.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
That's Dallas Aikens talking about chop wood, carry water. I think that was kind of like the premise of it. We're going to chop wood, boys. And then you have the stump of wood and the axe in the dressing room.
So for the fact it was in the lockers room is just the chef's kiss on that entire situation.
Oh, my goodness.
Second team All-Pro the year before as well. I'm looking at it now. So clearly had something going for himself.
Things that could have easily been avoided if you just don't bring an axe in the locker room. Kai, back in my youth, 1989, I was 16, Germany state/provincial semifinals in boxing. TKO on my opponent, but I broke my right thumb inside the glove, missed 2 weeks, the final 6. I had a 6-week cast. Ooh. That's one of the things, when you're punching, right, Declan? You don't want your fist on the inside of your fingers, or your thumb, sorry.
Yeah, you don't want it out there is the thing.
You don't want it. Where do you want it?
You want it tucked.
You want it tucked? I thought
you don't want it like
your
tucked.
thumb.
You don't want it tucked underneath, but you want it like this. If you can see that.
For the YouTube.
Yeah. Because the way the boxing gloves, I wish I had a pair of boxing gloves in my trunk right now. I'd go get them during the break. But basically, like the way it sits is like they kind of hover out. But yeah, you tuck them over like that. I remember the first time I walked into a boxing gym and I hit the bag. My hands were shaking for like 3 days afterwards. Like it was crazy. They were so sore. I was like so sure I had broken my hands because they just like would not stop shaking. Eventually would go on to break my hands and then realized that what I was experiencing then was clearly not broken hands. But yeah, it is pretty crazy, like just how much of a beating they take, especially when you're not used to it.
You bring boxing gloves in here and we're going to have like a miniature Chris Hansen type situation.
Yeah.
One of us is getting punched in the leg.
Man, I'm giving you guys 16 ounces. I'm keeping the 8s for myself. I'm just going nuts.
That's what I prefer personally. Ty the says, I ran a scissor lift over my foot, 1,840 pounds, and foot was saved because of my steel toe boots. Shout out to Red Wing Boots. I used to rip around the power jacket save on back in the day, and you got to be careful. Once almost got my foot caught. JP says, nurse, 100% dropping them with Reeves if playing. I think we'd all be okay seeing that. Alfred says, I pulled my back once buttering toast. Just fall on the ground, eat the toast. Yeah, Nate says, remember Grammatica blowing out his knees celebrating? Oh, yeah. Really took it over the top. Who was the Anaheim Angel? I think it was Anaheim Angels. He injured his knee touching home plate on like a walk-off. When I try to search these stories. Sorry?
Most average Anaheim Angels experience.
Kendrys Morales.
Doing that.
Kendrys Morales hits a walk-off grand slam. Not a grand slam. Well, it says walk-off slam. It's called a grand slam. It's better for the story. And then jumps into home plate and like tears up his knee. Fractured his lower leg, Declan.
That sums them up as a franchise so perfectly.
Dave says, I was crossing the street against the light in Vegas. Got hit by an ambulance. Picked myself up and joined the crowd on the sidewalk. Watched the MT get out and look around for the body. An ambulance? That's ridiculous. Manny had the question. Remind me who your resident Vikings fan is, please. And I think we have a texter named Skull. And I know we have Playbook Vic, who are a big Vikings fan. But Manny, you've been a Vikings fan since 1973. Does that mean you know the Purple People Eaters? I might put you at the top. Lance says my coworker jackhammered my finger once. That sucked.
Ooh.
That's wild. Brad says Taylor Hall getting his face stepped on. Yeah. I just remember watching like the broadcast and like Taylor Hall's not going to play. Took a skate to the face and it was brutal. The medical staff at that rink in city he was in did a great job. Iron says Nurse should not get involved with Reeves at all. He's not in the same category as a fighter, and he's the second pairing defenseman, one of our most important defensemen. And Reeves is playing on a fourth line, or what? What would it help? Yeah, I mean, that's a very good point. If you were the Maple Leafs, you're taking that trade off any second. I wouldn't mind a little cross-check to the hip, some talking. But yeah, if you're going to lose Nurse for 5 and they're only losing Reeves, probably not worth it. Considering his estimated upcoming contract, would you trade Bouchard straight up for Owen Power? Man, I don't know. I should really watch more Buffalo.
No, you don't. That's okay.
I don't want to. I really don't want to. It's a good question. Owen Power, obviously, very hyped up. First overall pick. Bouchard's got a little bit more of the track record, but Power younger. I don't know if they would do it. I'll ask y'all. What do you guys think? Bouchard for Owen Power? Would ya? Steve texting in. Harvey the Hound having his tongue ripped out of his mouth. Yeah, Craig McTavish did that pretty solidly. Trey texting in. I tore my rotator cuff falling out of the bed while having some, let's say, adult activities. Trey, you dog. It's like on The Office when they think that Daryl accidentally called a client while doing that. But he just says, no, I was eating spaghetti. But he doesn't tell them that. Trey, you weren't eating spaghetti, were you? Snarly says, I worked with the guy who lost one of his boys from a swinging gate on a gravel truck. One of the worst injuries I've ever seen. Horrific. Direct hit. Oh my gosh. That's bad. Jeff says, hey guys, as a teenager, my brother was playing goalie for a good old-fashioned road hockey game. Dove to block a shot, and the following day he was rushed to the hospital. Turns out he damaged a kidney and had to have it removed. Jeff, your brother's tough. Lance says, no, I'm pretty sure Bouchard has better numbers. Yeah, maybe long-term upside, maybe Power has more, better defensively. But you know what Bouchard is. Well, right now, what could he become? It's an interesting question. Man, I don't even want to read this one, Chris. I ruptured my testicle jumping off a 2-foot scaffold once, worked the rest of the shift. Dumbest thing I'd ever done. When that happens, I'd heard a story about that from football. A guy was wearing a cup, popped out, ruptured it. How much pain is that? Do you feel nauseous? I imagine you try to tough it out, but my goodness. That's pain. You can keep those texts rolling in here if you want. If it's a little gross and we're getting squeamish or anything like that, then just don't text them anymore. But if you want to, feel free. Chris says, absolute agony, brother. My gosh, yeah. Ruptured testicle. Two words no man ever wants to hear. Let's take a break. When we come back, Wanye should be back with us. He took a little mall walk. We'll also hear Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, Facebook, YouTube, and X, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Mr. Rooter makes a prank phone call.
It's ringing.
Hello?
Hello there. Is your faucet running?
Yeah, actually it is. I have this really annoying drip.
Oh, you'll want to check for mineral buildup or corrosion. Otherwise, it's likely a defective gasket or O-ring. I got him good.
Mr. Rooter, you're the worst at this.
For lousy punchlines and immaculate water lines, trust one plumber, Mr. Rooter.
90 days? You're telling me I can buy a 2024 or 2025 Buick or GMC from Wolf GMC Buick and make no payments for 90 days? Whoa. And you're telling me there's more? It's the final days of GMC's employee pricing on remaining 2024 Sierra HDs and Yukons? Clearly now is the time to buy a new vehicle. I'm heading to Wolf GMC Buick, corner of 184th Street and Stony Plain Road. It's mere seconds east of the Anthony Henday.
Wolf GMC Buick. We're making it easy.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
When picking a New Year's resolution, try to avoid things you have no influence over.
Like bringing home the cup? That would be awesome.
But completely outside your control. Instead, pick something you can control, like bringing home some Wilhock beef jerky.
That would also be awesome. But what if we brought the cup home to Canada and it was filled with Wilhock beef jerky?
Okay, I'll allow it.
Wilhock beef jerky, only available in Leduc. Get yours today, because you don't win cups with salad.
At Leading Edge Physiotherapy, we believe in the wisdom of Patch Adams. Treat a disease, you win, you lose. Treat a person, I guarantee you'll win no matter what the outcome. We don't treat conditions, we treat people. From personalized treatment plans to compassionate care, we're committed to helping you achieve your goals. That's why hands-on techniques, unique technologies, and a commitment to hiring amazing people mixed with friendly, fun neighborhood environments. And ta-da! No, it's not magic. It's about being human. Sometimes being human hurts, but life shouldn't hurt. LeadingEdgePhysio.com.
For years now, we've been warning Edmontonians on the hazards of our stormwater facilities. While they may appear to look like still ponds, there is moving water beneath the surface, which makes the ice dangerously. The unpredictability of stormwater facilities makes them treacherously unsafe for all winter activities, even walking. So think twice. Don't go on the ice. A safety message from EPCOR.
I'm Rick Showers from No Bull RV, and I'd like to thank all the people who buy new RVs. Buying your RV new is the most generous thing you can do to help your fellow man. Every year, thousands of people just like you go to the RV show or walk into a new RV store, pay full price, take great care of it like you always do, and then eventually sell it to us. And of course, we pay you market value for your used RV.
But that's tens of thousands less than you paid for it.
That's right, Bob. Could be half of what you paid for it when it was new. And it's still in great shape. So who gets the benefit of that reduced value? Our customers, that's who.
No Bull customers never pay full price for an RV because we only buy used.
Right again, Bob. So we'll enjoy the same RV you have now, only we pay like half as much. And it's only possible because you generously decided to pay that higher price when you bought it. So thanks again to all the new RV buyers, and we'll see you in a few years.
And that's No Bull.
NobleRV.ca.
Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Declan Kruger, and Liam Peace with you. The Jason Gregor Show brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Tonight's Lotto Max, an estimated $25 million. You can get your ticket at PlayAlberta.ca or use code word Gregor50 when making a deposit, and you get a $50 free bet. Remember to use your game sense. 1-833-401-1440. That is the text line. J-Lock says, injury stories are epic. Keep telestrating. Just drawing them, little visuals in your mind. Followed by Kevlar. Why are you guys talking about this stuff? You people are sick individuals. Yeah. I mean, we're trying to walk that line. Cat Dad says, if you remember Reds, I was the first employee to go to the hospital. Injured myself working on the blade of the saran wrap. Ugh. I think that one's got us all to a certain extent. I do remember Reds. Used to love going there for birthday parties. Buck says, hey, boys. Oh, dear. My brother and I were playing soccer in the neighbor's backyard. He had his tongue out when I went to kick the ball. I missed the ball and kicked him under the chin. Bit through most of his tongue. The doctor was able to stitch it back on, but he had to eat tomato soup for a week. I bet he still rubs that in.
When my mom was a kid, she fell off some monkey bars and bit through her tongue when she hit the ground.
Ugh.
Had to have it sewn back on. Pretty crazy.
My son is going to be wrapped in bubble wrap. No, he's probably going to get hurt too. I'll just suck it up. Wes, I was nailing a board to the floor with a brad nailer. It hit a screw and it came up into my thumb. I had to use a probably to lift it out of my hand. West. There might have been an autocorrect in there, but a screw in the thumb's tough. Snarly says, this is intense radio, boys. Just one more, guys, from Greg the Rider fan. Fred Stamps finished the game for the Elks, playing with a ruptured testicle. Had surgery that night, was playing a month later. Yeah, Fred Stamps was sick. Really good player for the green and gold. All right, let's get to Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. We'll take a break from this stuff. Will we come back to it? Maybe. It depends what you guys text in. I don't even know. Anything on the YouTube chat? Nothing really crazy. Nothing too crazy. Shopcat, Westside Shane, Jay, Steve Johnson. Like Stevie Johnson, the Chargers legend. Good to have you guys in here. Hit that like button. Again, 2-minute warning with Cam Tate, brought to you by Lakes Heating and Cooling, where the rates never change. Need service late at night or on the weekends. You don't need overtime charges. That's how you build a legacy at lakesheating.ca. Of course, Cam Tate, longtime sports reporter in our fair city. Always wanted to be on the radio. With the power of technology, now we can. Here is Cam Tate's 2-minute warning.
You're invited, but only today. It must be understood to look at the Twitter. You might call it X. Feed of one Connor Halley. You know, Ben's dad, the guy in the air chair. Mr. Halley posted a what to call it yucky red thing. Looked like an octopus. By golly, Bob, it was an octopus on the Rogers Place ice surface last night. Sure was at the Oilers game that the Red Wings of Detroit scored 3 unanswered goals, one in the shootout for a 3-2 win over the Oilers. But this broadcast bonanza extravaganza, this one right here, is not debating the game. No. Instead, we're going to ask the question, why? Why would anybody go buy an octopus, wrap it up in whatever you wrap in, take it with you to an Oilers game, and then you, and only you, decide what time you're going to wind up and chuck your octopus on the ice? Which raises the most profound question. Do you kiss the octopus bye-bye the same way you get screeched in over there in Newfoundland, where you kiss a fish? But I digress. The only time I think it is acceptable to throw objects on the ice is when someone scores a hat trick. When hats start coming down, players expect them, and that, Christopher and Matthew, is so important. So important. And here's why. Players and officials are prepared for the hat hurl. They know they're coming, right? That's a whole different kettle of fish. When something from out of the blue appears on the ice, what if a player of official is skating backwards and all of a sudden? Well, you get the squishy picture. And what if someone gets hurt? Who is liable here? Now, I get it. The red octopus being thrown on the ice at Red Wing games dates back 1952, and I get the number of tentacles they have represent how many wins. 16 to win the Stanley Cup. But in today's game and the speed of it in between stoppages of play, there is absolutely no place for any type of fish or animal thrown on the ice during a NHL game. 2-minute warning with me, the Cammer, Monday, Friday. Connor Halley Show, Sports 1440.
There you go, Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. I was like, oh no, what's he going to call it on my Twitter timeline? Just tweeted some things. I was laughing with Wanye. Last night I also tweeted like 2 minutes into the game. How does everyone think Klingberg looks? People are replying, game just started. Come on, man. Yeah, I know. It was a little premature. The squid. It's crazy. You know, we were, a week from the nachos. Now we're getting the squid or octopus. And it's a tradition. It happens all the time. But I kind of agree with you, Cam. We don't necessarily need that. It's gross, too. It looks nasty. 1-833-414-1440. Another injury for you. Hey, boys. My son was bouncing on the trampoline when he was 9 or 10. Bounced into the protective safety meshing and ripped out the tooth next to his 2 front teeth. Antoine. Marksman's talking about how he said, Connor, get ready. Toddler stage. Their main objective is to hurt themselves. My son tripped over his feed, drove his teeth into his bottom lip. Looked like hamburger meat, but healed up okay, which is good. Yeah, little kids, man. I watched my nephew once, like, on a sofa, just walk straight off the edge. Did a, head over tea kettle? Whatever they call it. Straight over. Like, perfect execution. Just got up, cried. 2 minutes later was good. It's a fun little age, that age. Wanya, you've got a little boy.
You're darn right, Wanya Jr.
What's the, is he pretty reckless? Some silliness in his life?
No, he's actually very conservative. It's quite funny. He you'll never trick him twice. So if he falls down, he's very cautious thereafter. Fell on ice once, now is very cautious. Good guy.
Good guy.
Would recommend.
Con man, I'm not from the Chuck, but where the hell do you buy a whole octopus? From Hacksaw. There's got to be like a seafood market. I know there's one like just off 178, kind of by that Best Buy. I bet they would have it, but I would never buy it.
I got a guy. He'll bring anything you want in 90 minutes. Don't ask where he got it from.
I wouldn't.
Don't look for a deal.
No deals. Well, in 90 minutes or less, that's fair. I posted it, the picture of the octopus Camp Date was talking about in the 2-minute warning, and it's gross. And who was it? I think it was Don replied, like, you cook that up and it's delicious. And for me personally, can't do it. Cannot do it. Smoky Lake Trumpet. The octopus was likely more intelligent than the person who threw it on the ice. Cooked. Alfred says I had an ingrown hair in my nose go through but the skin, made a huge red pimple on the outside, was very painful.
Sir, this is sports radio. What on earth?
It's the injury talk. Frosty from Leduc says, boys, when I was a kid, a buddy with one of those old pocket fishermen was casting and the barbed hook went through my nose. We didn't have anything to cut the barb off, so my brother pulled it back through my nostril.
See, that's an injury. The other guy had a pimple. That's not an injury. That's an inconvenience.
It was an ingrown hair, is what it was. David says, my question is, how did someone get the octopus in the arena? Well, there's no metal in an octopus, so you get it through there. It's got to be in the pants.
It's got to be the bathing suit region, no?
Yeah. There's an episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine where they are talking about how Detective Santiago could conceal a microphone.
You want a live octopus to put down your pants? I got to call a different guy, but he'll be here. About 45 minutes. It's going to really be expensive.
I know there's like the stories. I don't want to rat anyone out, but people who threw the steak on the ice in Detroit back in 2006. I think it was Chris Sheets.
Was it? That's a clutch play.
I think so. I think that one you might strap somewhere. You could probably strap it on your leg because it's just a steak, big hunk of beef. But
did you say I don't want to name names? Then you said it was Chris Sheets?
Yeah, but I don't know if it was him for sure.
It's a legendary move.
He's a co-host on the Carrier Show Tuesday mornings. But yeah, the octopus is gross. Octopus made it in via the prison.
Oh dear.
Let's stop right there.
I can end that sentence in my head.
People can end that in their head for sure. In your belly, pretend you're fat, or if you're a lady, pregnant from Fuzzy. Nashville throwing catfish just feels like they're trying too hard. Yeah, that was a tradition for a little while.
You got to swallow it whole, go through security, then retch it back up.
It's impressive. J-Lock, these off-brand commentaries are why I tune in. Pure entertainment. The gore is real. Yeah, occasionally that happens. And then on cue, someone will say, get back to sports, which is what we'll do next. It is the Jason Gregor Show, Connor Halley, and Wanya Gretz. We got Declan Kruger, as well as Liam Pease, keeping us on board here. Still to come on the show. We're going to be joined by Alan Mitchell, Zach Lang. That's in the 5 o'clock hour. Lots of Oilers talk. In the next hour, though, it's going to be Ryan Leslie of Sportsnet. We'll talk about the Flames, the trade they made, as well as Craig Button from the NHL on TSN. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440 and Oilers Nation Facebook, YouTube, and X. Brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca right now. A Sports 1440 update brought to you by Fountain Tire. Get where you need to go this winter with the mid-winter tire clearance sale at Fountain Tire. You can save up to 20% of all in-stock winter tires. Premium brands, unbeatable safety, and incredible savings. Complete details at fountaintire.com. Here is Declan Kruger.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, 4 games tonight in the NHL. Nashville in Buffalo at 5, Vancouver and Dallas at 6, St. Louis and Colorado at 7, and Columbus and Utah at the same time. In the NBA today, we do have 7 games on the schedule. The action gets going with the Clippers and Hornets at 5, Mavericks and Pistons at the same time as well. Toronto Raptors playing host to the Chicago Bulls, a 5:30 tip for that one. And 2 nationally televised games, Nuggets and 76ers and Suns and Warriors. 10 games in the WHL, including the Edmonton Oil Kings. They're playing host to the Calgary Hitmen, a 7 p.m. puck drop out at Rogers for that one. And in the BCHL, 8 games, including the Sherwood Park Crusaders, who are at home against West Kelowna with a 7 p.m. puck drop. The BC Lions have announced that they have restructured the contract of Nathan Rourke, with exact terms not yet known, but Rourke does remain signed for the next 2 seasons. And in case you missed it, the Vegas Golden Knights, have signed winger Brandon Saad to a 1-year prorated $1.5 million contract for the remainder of the season. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
1440 Stingray Radio Station. CHJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta? New players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Scott McGilvery here, HGTV host and renovation expert. The one upgrade I know homeowners will love: better, fresher Culligan water straight from the tap. Culligan's Aquasential reverse osmosis filtration system takes your water to the next level. With up to 7 stages of filtration and 14 filter options, they're certified to reduce over 90 contaminants. Your tap water is about to get a major upgrade. Safer water that tastes great. Get started with a free in-home water test at Culligan.com. Culligan, water you love.
Hey, it's Andrew Walker, host of the Cross Mitsubishi pregame show, which you can check out before all the games this season. A big thank you to Cross Mitsubishi for their support. We are Sports 1440, Edmonton Sports Leader.
You don't know what awaits you on the road to come, but with the 2025 XC90 from Volvo of Edmonton, you'll have the versatility to take on whatever life throws at you. The new XC90, a luxurious SUV with seating for up to 7, boasts newly upgraded body and wheel design. It's the perfect choice to drive into the coming year. And right now, you'll save $4,500 and lease from 1.49% on all in-stock 2025 XC90s. Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Alberta's largest RV sale is back.
The Edmonton RV Adventure Sale and Show.
Powered by Aviva Insurance.
February 6th to 9th at the Edmonton Expo Center.
Discover over 350 specially priced RVs.
From trailers and fifth wheels to diesel pushers and toy haulers.
New this year, the Ask an Expert booth.
Plus, the lifestyle marketplace with local vendors.
And don't miss the world famous Super Dog.
It's fun for the whole family.
Tickets at rvda-alberta.org or at the door.
The Edmonton RV Adventure Sale and Show.
Find your wherever home.
Cold, icy mornings, frozen windshield, snow in the forecast, and your vehicle won't start. You know what that means, Alberta. Winter is here. Don't get left out of the cold. Head to Napa Auto Parts today to gear up for the frosty months ahead. Winter won't wait, and neither should you. From premium batteries, starters, and alternators to high-quality wiper blades, antifreeze, and snow brushes, Napa Auto Parts has everything you need to get your vehicle winter ready and running. With over 85 locations in Alberta, stop into your local Napa store or visit NapaCanada.com for all your trusted parts, tools, equipment, and automotive needs. That's Napa know-how.
Adventure just doesn't stumble into your life. It roars to life with Riverside Motorsports. Tearing up trails or cruising the open road. Yamaha ATVs, side-by-sides, motorcycles, and dirt bikes deliver the performance you crave. Built for thrills, ready for your next adventure. Yamaha's legendary performance and reliability take you there. Make Mother Nature your playground on a Yamaha from Riverside Motorsports. Located on St. Albert Trail. RideRiverside.com. Riverside Motorsports. What you do for fun is our business.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Leading Edge Physio. The team in Old Strathcona have special training dedicated to reducing the impact of cancer care before, during, and after your diagnosis. From lymphedema to the management of fatigue and side effects of chemotherapy and radiation, they can help. And you can learn more at leadingedgephysio.com.
Sports Radio is back. The Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
After 4 o'clock, welcome back. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Juan Yegretz, Declan Kruger, and Liam Peace with you. Talking all things Oilers and more on this show as they're back in action tomorrow, taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Jason Gregor Show brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Lotto Max 25 mil estimated tonight. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. Coming to you live from the eWales studio. The text line 1-833-401-1440. On the way, Rob says, "Hey guys, can you tell me why Leon doesn't wear the A at home, or just why he didn't wear it last night? They rotate home and away." I've tweeted before. I think Leon Draisaitl should always have the A, but that's just me. I think just what he brings all around. There's not really a weak spot of his game anymore. You can put him out there in every situation. I think he'd be a candidate to wear the A all the time, in my opinion. We've got the crazy injuries rolling in here still that we will get back to. Just on the topic of getting, weird food items into the rink, because the Octopus hit the ice last night as the Red Wings were in town. Max is going with steaks. You just got to put it on your torso and use saran wrap. Good way to get it in. Hide the odor maybe a little bit. Justin the Electrician says, "I was at the game last night. I was sitting beside where he threw the octopus from. Got splashed with octopus juice." Ooh. It's one of those things I guess I just prefer not to have done to me, but Red Wings in town. Hey, I don't like it. It's gross, but there's a part of me that respects it.
The nacho guy, although immediately tased in the club area, might have been onto something.
Well, yeah, he might have. I don't know how much I like that one. At least there's some tradition. There's not a tradition of Oilers fans throwing nachos.
But we're 1-0 when they do fly on the ice, Connor.
Well, no, it was the loss to the Capitals.
Oh, yeah, we lost.
So don't do it.
Wait a minute.
It's not a good thing. Right now, let's talk some Calgary Flames. We got Ryan Leslie joining us from Sportsnet and Hockey Night in Canada. Ryan, good afternoon. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon. I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Doing really good. Appreciate you coming on the show today. And last night, it was wild on social media hearing the Flames making some moves. Something big might be coming. And what an acquisition for Calgary, acquiring from Philadelphia Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee in exchange for Andrei Kuzmenko, Jacob Pelche, and a second and I believe fourth round pick later on here. I just want to ask you, did you foresee the Flames making a move like this, going back a week or so?
No, I can't say I did, to be honest with you, but you got the sense that the way the team was playing, that Craig, played 1,000 games in this league. He's scouted the world over. He's a general manager now. You got the sense that if there was a guy who knew that his team needed a little boost for, kind of, I don't know if a reward is the right way, but when you think about everything that they've done to hang around in a playoff position, he felt he owed it to them to go out and try and get them some help. So did I see it coming? No. Was I overly surprised? I would say I was a little bit surprised that it all went down, but it makes a lot of sense. And Craig got the deal that he wanted, and got some pieces that fit into his lineup now and going down the road. So they didn't have to give up a lot to get what they wanted to do, and that was a little bit more depth. They've got a couple of bigger bodies, guys who fit in that right age range. So, yeah, didn't predict it, but knowing Craig as we do, he's never, resting on anything that he's done in the past, and he's still trying to improve this hockey club. So made a lot of sense for him. The timing worked, so he pounced way ahead of the deadline.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. For the Calgary Flames, doing a lot better than I thought they would. I'm not a Flames expert by any means, but having a really good season. And, you can't just sit back and continue how things are going when you have a chance to improve. The Calgary Flames in the number 2 wildcard spot, but you got the Canucks, you've got the Utah HC right on their tail. The Canucks probably, you got to think, I just feel like they're too good of a team to struggle the way they have. So I really like that. The aggression from Conroy to go out there and get this done. Now, where do you think they slot into the lineup, at least to begin with?
Well, that'll be, they're going to be in the lineup on Saturday night as Detroit is here. Heard you guys just talking about the Red Wings a moment ago, but they'll both be in. They're going to come into town today, and it'll be fascinating because, Ryan Huska has not been afraid to move things around, as most coaches, do. So it's not surprising that at this point, I don't know if there's a lock at this point, but Morgan Frost, well, both players, but Morgan Frost needed a fresh start, and he's going to get one. And, I think they like what he can do at that center position, or, both guys can kind of fit in seamlessly. Now, Huska's had, the opportunity to move things around and then come back to things too. For example, Huberdeau and Kadri. We tried that earlier in the year. Didn't work. Wasn't afraid to come back to it, and it has worked. Coleman and Michael Backlund have been a pairing. And now all of a sudden you got Matt Coronado, who looks fantastic with them. So those three aren't going to be broken up. But there's been a lot of tinkering, and he's had to do so. So, we'll see. It's going to take some time to see not only where they go, but how long they stay there. But certainly, when you look at what they gave up in Peltier and Kuzmenko, Kuzmenko was out of the lineup quite a bit, but he was starting to find his game. And you saw the injection of energy and life that Peltier put into top line and other lines that he's been on. So good pieces. You'll recall Peltier was cleared waivers, went down. Any team could have had him. And I don't think it's any secret that Kuzmenko's future in Calgary was not going to last. So he was going to walk at the end of this year. So for Craig to give up a couple of draft picks and two players that, you love the fact that both wanted to be in Calgary, but you have to give up something to make your hockey club better. And that's what Craig did.
How do you think Peltier and Kuzmenko will fit in with the Flyers and John Tortorella?
Probably the same as you. It's one of those things where, you got to watch it, but it just doesn't seem like a natural fit at this point. So we'll see how it goes, but it just doesn't seem like. I mean, they're hoping for Michkov and Kuzmenko to maybe find something. But it was emotional for him to say goodbye to his teammates in the city. It really has been a tough one on a young player going through all that he has. The waivers and.
Looks like we might have lost Ryan. We'll try to get him back here for a few more questions. Ryan Leslie with Sportsnet and Hockey Night in Canada. And I don't know. At first, when Ryan said probably the same as you, those guys would fit in with John Tortorella, I thought, I feel like I could work with Tortorella. But when you're actually referring about what I think it'll be with Tortorella, I don't know. I don't know. We'll watch and see. Obviously, pretty good move for the Flames. Peltier, like you said, on waivers. Any team could have had him because Manko's likely and probably very likely not going to be back with the Flames anyway. So for them, not too big of a deal. And the draft picks, those aren't going to help you for a long time anyways, and there's no guarantee. So why not go out and get two NHL players, fix up that middle six, we'll say? I thought that was a great move for the Flames, as much as we don't want to admit it.
It's not a great move for the Flames.
It's not?
No, they're incapable of making great moves down there, Connor.
Oh, yes, of course. The Calgary Flames right in that playoff hunt where I did not foresee it being. I thought they'd be down lower on in the standings. Ryan Huska doing a good job with that group. They're right in it, though. In a playoff spot, really 3 points back of the Colorado Avalanche. Just kind of hold off those Vancouver Canucks. And, right now it looks like they're doing a pretty good job of it. Looks like we do have Ryan back here. Ryan Leslie, NHL host on Sportsnet and Hockey Night. Ryan, sorry about that. I think we lost you. Want to ask you about the goaltending situation in Calgary, because when Dustin Wolf started the season there, played very well, I kept hearing the naysayers saying, oh, yeah, but how long? Well, we're 29 games in, started for him. He's 19-8-2, a 2.51 goals against average, and save percentage at .917. I mean, things are looking pretty good for the young goaltender.
They really are. And I apologize, guys. I'm in a high school volleyball tournament here, so I think I'm in a brick building or concrete building, so I apologize for losing you. The goaltender has been the story, hasn't he? And I know I certainly didn't see it coming this quick. I know his resume is impeccable to every league that he's been in prior to getting to the NHL. I've always admired his confidence and his dedication to the craft. It's unmatched. It really is something. But I hadn't seen it yet at this level, and it is going to take some time. And coming into the season, I had real questions about, okay, the size. Can he see through the traffic? His anticipation, guys, his ability to read the play and what's going to happen and recover to go along with his mental focus and just the way he goes about his business is really impressive. His ability to shake off situations that don't go his way is incredible. But just what you're seeing, his ability to recover, react, anticipate, and his athleticism, I didn't see it coming right away. And coming into the season, I remember Mackenzie Weegar telling me about 5-6 games in that there was a game where, the goaltender was cross crease saves time and time again. And the boys at the back, the veterans, were like, I think we got something. And Weegar said to me, he's the reason we are where we are in the standings. So he's making Flames fans believers, but most importantly, he's made his teammates believers. And as you can appreciate, right, guys, you've got some veterans who've done it and seen it and been around. Okay, who's the kid with all the hype? Wake me when it's for real. Well, he's made believers out of them, and he's a pretty popular guy in town. And they have faith in both guys. Like Dan Vladar has been brilliant on a lot of nights. It just hasn't resulted necessarily in wins and numbers that you could point to from the outside. But if you watch them, you'd be like, "Ooh, they've got a pretty good tandem, all things considered." And I don't know if you guys recall, but coming into this season, when they said goodbye to Jacob Markstrom, it was like, okay, what's Calgary going to do with this goaltending situation? It has been the most consistent position of the entire team and a real bright spot. So pleasantly surprised with all of it, with where the team is and with some of these individual performances we're talking about.
Yeah, Dustin Wolf, and I mean, I feel like this is kind of being uttered a little bit more and more in goaltender circles, but like, if he's listed as 6'3", 6'4", rather than 6 feet, I just don't think he's a 7th round pick. Like, I think there's just that bias against shorter goaltenders, and Dustin Wolf proving that wrong.
Yeah, there's a little bit of Saros in his story too, right? But there's a lot of players who played with him. You could talk to guys in the American League or certainly Western League, and they'd be like, "No, this guy's the real deal. Just give him some time, give him something in front of him." A good team, and hopefully add some run support, which has been a bit tough for Calgary this year, to put it mildly. But he has kept them in it, and you read his record out at the top of the question. So the guy's rolling, and he just takes it in stride. And, when you think about Vernon, when you think about Kiprasov, that's kind of where it really ends in terms of Flames greats, unless I'm kind of drawing a blank, but he's got a lot of work to do before he joins those boys in that company. But for the first time, the Flames have a homegrown goaltender that looks to be early on in his career like the real deal.
Absolutely. Just one last question for you. I've kind of been throwing this out there to all of our beat reporters that have joined us in the last week here. We got the Four Nation Face-Off coming up shortly. Rasmus Andersson, the only Flame that will be participating in the tournament, I believe, for Team Sweden. What is your thoughts on this event? Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I am. I got to say, my curiosity is piqued because while it's not every one of the best nations, it is 4 of the best. And I think you like best on best, no matter how you get it. We're kind of hungry for it, aren't we? And it sets the table for a pretty intriguing Olympic Games a year from now. And I'm looking forward to it. I want to see what happens when you put guys like Nate and Sidney together. I want to see what the Tkachuk brothers are like playing together. I want to see how Rasmus gets under the skin. There's a lot of neat things that you can look at. And yeah, I mean, it's February. It's something different. And, why wouldn't we embrace it and just see what it's all about? See, from a pure entertainment standpoint, I get it. Some naysayers may say, "Oh, it's manufactured," or it's not really the full deal. Okay, but you know what? It's still something different, and it's not the All-Star game, and it's meaningful to these guys. It is ramping up. I can tell you firsthand, these players are dialed in, and if they're dialed and they've got the buy-in, gosh, isn't that sort of the ingredients you want for what could be an entertaining event? And that's all you can really hope for. I mean, how many of us are going, "Hey, remember that All-Star game from 4 years ago?" Not many of us. No. So this might be one where we're sitting back in February, or maybe we're on the beach in Mexico, or maybe we're in our living room, or whatever we're doing, or maybe we're at the office, or maybe we're actually going to the event in Montreal and Boston. I mean, I know lots of guys who are taking their sons or daughters or going. It's a family getaway, and I know some of the parents of the players who are jacked to go. I mean, it's starting to get a little momentum, and I just hope it continues. And I would expect the caliber is going to be lights out. And don't we want to see Canada versus the U.S. at some point? Like, this is going to be great. So yeah, Razzy's pretty pumped. He was showing me the threads he's going to be wearing for this thing, the Swedish jacket that he'll have on, and dared him to wear it with no shirt on underneath. I'm not sure if that'll happen, but he's had quite a week, hasn't he, with getting into it with Marc-Andre Fleury with a left hand, and then getting into it with Winnipeg, and then Tom Wilson, him having what is a legendary back and forth. Yeah, he's just, I mean, it's a big stage. He's got to do something, doesn't he?
A beloved player here in Edmonton. Oilers fans absolutely love him. Well, Ryan, thanks so much for doing this today. Volleyball, the tournament, a kid, or what's going on?
Oh yeah, my daughter's got a good 1-set lead here on in her first game of the tournament. So we're digging in here on a Friday night.
Beautiful. Well, best of luck to her and the team, and thanks again for doing this.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. All the best.
There you go. That is Ryan Leslie of Sportsnet and Hockey Night, a volleyball tournament to get the weekend going. We had a text come in from Cat Dad asking, he plays volleyball in high school and hosting on Sportsnet. How old is this guy? Well, old enough. Text rolling in here. Hey, boys, on the TV broadcast, you can hear a woman screaming in terror just before the octopus lands. The visual is amazing. Guy sitting beside her drops his drawers, pulls out a slimy, smelly, dead sea creature, looks over at her with a sly grin, probably taunts her with it, and then tosses it. That's how I imagine it, Mark.
So good.
He's probably just creepy looking, too.
We should make him an MLA. Elect him to office.
Oh, okay. Like a real MLA.
Yes.
I was like, you guys have slang sometimes I don't get.
Member of the Legislative Assembly.
A legit one. Okay. Yeah. Nice salary, good benefits.
Exactly. He earned it.
That's how he would sneak the octopus in.
He's our best and brightest.
It's me, MLA. Come on in, sir.
Darn right.
1-833-401-1440. Jonathan, I just got to make sure. Okay, we're good to read this one. My high school girlfriend and I were practicing soccer corner kicks at the field across from her house. The ball went past me. I ran to it and turned and kicked it back to her. What I didn't realize was that she ran behind me and I caught her square in the face. Blood everywhere. She was out cold. Had to carry her back to her house where her dad was arriving from work. Yikes. Soccer injury. It was soccer. HVAC Nick, how did the guy wait until the third period to toss the octopus? He sat through 2/3 of the game with the octopus on him. Yeah, absolutely. That would be, if it's me, right before, like, anthem time. Yeet. But maybe he wanted to watch the game and knew he was going to get kicked out.
Maybe that was the best part.
Maybe.
Maybe you haven't lived.
Let's take a break here. When we come back, Craig Button from the NHL on TSN will join us here on the Jason Gregor Show, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
At Hughes, it's all about getting in and out quick and clean. No cash, no problem. With Hughes' new tap and wash system, all you need is your debit or credit card to get your vehicle sparkling clean.
Find us at HughesCarWash.com.
It's the Bricks Friends and Family Sale. For 4 days only, they're extending their VIP offers to everyone. Save up to 30% off sofas, sectionals, bedroom, and dining. Save up to 40% off mattresses. And get a 10% credit to use towards sleep accessories. Save up to $1,000 off major kitchen appliances. Up to $600 off big screen TVs. Plus VIP in-store only deals on appliances and electronics. Some exclusions apply. Visit thebrick.com for details. The Brick, saving you more.
The moments we need healthcare are some of our most vulnerable. You deserve a system that supports you. Our healthcare system can't wait any longer.
Visit rebuildourhealthcare.ca to learn more.
At Schwab Buick GMC, our boss is serious about cutting prices on vehicles like Sierras and Silverados. When?
Right Schwabbing now! Right Schwabbing now!
So when he sees the MSRP, he says,
that's not Schwabbing good enough!
He's always looking for more.
Dig the Schwab in!
Save with 0% financing or lease rates as low as 1.9% on 2024 half-ton trucks.
Right now!
At Schwab Chevrolet Buick GMC in Leduc. Right Schwabbing now!
Let's act together to stop the destruction. We can rebuild our healthcare by respecting frontline workers and by putting patients before profits and politics.
Visit rebuildourhealthcare.ca to learn more.
Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, also streaming on Oilers Nation Facebook, YouTube, and X. The Jason Gregor Show brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Use promo code Gregor50, get a $50 free play. Make sure to use your game sense. Also tonight, $25 million estimated. So it could be 26. It is Lotto Max. You can get your ticket at PlayAlberta.ca. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz with you. We got Declan Kruger and Liam Peace here as well. We're all caffeinated now. You did a little coffee run. I got the you got the vanilla latte, French. You better.
I got a vanilla latte. Yeah, that's right.
I got a coffee with Splenda.
You're living the dream.
Declan went for the caffeine-free root beer.
Odd play, but on brand.
How about Liam? Did he get anything?
No, he said no.
Oh, Liam's good.
LP Smooth said nothing for me.
He's got big plans after the show.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. Boys' night.
Oh, boy.
It's going to be a good time. Right now, let's get to our big guest of the day. Speaking of big plans, Craig Button, big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Rides Charter Company. Silent Rides is one of Alberta's premier bus charter companies with state-of-the-art motor coaches safely taking your team or group to their next destination. You can visit silentrides.ca for more info. Craig, good afternoon. How are things going?
Things are going good, but I got to just kind of comment here. Vanilla latte does not exactly speak to caffeine afternoon pickups. It speaks to kind of like frou-frou.
Oh, I drove here in my minivan with my 5 seats in the back.
Well, the vanilla latte, though. Come on, you want to go afternoon, get a double espresso and get going.
Well, it's official drink of soccer moms at 4:20 in the afternoon.
Okay, so you want to identify as a soccer mom now, one?
I sure do on a Friday afternoon, last day of January.
Okay, fair enough. Hey, listen, I'm not here to judge. I'm just questioning.
My question for you, Craig. So Wanye offers to do a little caffeine run. If you're not familiar, West Edmonton Mall, we've got a food court right by us. So there's really unlimited options. What would your order be for Wanye?
For Wanye?
Yeah,
well,
what is he bringing for you? Is he bringing you a coffee? Is he bringing you back an A&W root beer? What would the pick be?
No A&W root beer. I've never been a pop guy, so it's not that it just never appealed to me ever. My thing would be a straight black coffee in the afternoon. That would be my pickup.
All right.
There you go. That's what I got. But I added a little Splenda to it because I can't quite put it down.
No problem.
I need a little sweetener for me. Craig, let's go to the Oilers last night. And John Klingberg makes his debut for the club. I wanted to ask you this. If you're in the position of Stan Bowman in the Oilers management, what would have gone into the decision to bring in a guy like John Klingberg who hasn't played in a while and is coming off some major surgeries?
Well, I think there's a couple of things that go into it, maybe more than a couple. Number one, you're looking at a player with a past history that's he's had some good success in the National Hockey League, and now then you go, okay, so what's preventing him from being there? Well, we know that he had hip resurfacing surgery, so now you go through the medical reports, not only on him, but you try to say, okay, what other players have done this? What does it mean? What does it mean for us? And how can we navigate through it? And then you start to say, okay, well, what fits for us salary-wise? What fits for us team-wise? What kind of player can he be? And I think the timing is really important too, Connor. You get him in now, you get to evaluate him for a month. And I know there's a break there with the Four Nations face-off, but prior to the trade deadline, okay, you can really see, okay, is John Klingberg, picking up his game? Is his game getting better? Is he giving us what we need? Is it as good as we thought? Not as good? Better than we thought? Which becomes instructive as you move into the trade deadline to try to look at, okay, maybe we want to go get a different type of player. Maybe we want to get a player that can give us this. I think there's zero risk once you're satisfied with the medical report and everything that goes with that, vis-a-vis John Klingberg and the surgery, then you move from there. And I guess nothing ventured, nothing gained. I keep saying this. I see it as just a no-risk move.
I'm with you. I mean, if it doesn't work out, you can move on. Capit's not going to crush you. And if if he does work, and Mark Spector said this, he kind of looked at me and said, if he were to pan out as a top 4 defenseman, obviously it's kind of found gold. And then you can turn your attention elsewhere to this team at the trade deadline and look to bring in someone else, another position potentially. So he asked me the question. I'll ask you the question. If Klingberg works out and, the Oilers can count on him to contribute down the stretch into the playoffs, where do you think the next position they might look to add at when it comes to the trade deadline?
Let me just make a quick comment. You're asking Klingberg to come in and be a number 4. You're not asking him to be a 3, a 1, or a 2. Those are covered. You're asking him now to come on and be a 4. And you look at what, when they found Broberg, when Broberg came in last year and really gave some really good stability to Darnell Nurse, I think that's what they're looking for from John Klingberg. And it's more in the skating. Can he skate? Can he be that exit guy, moves the puck, get up into the attack? I think that would help. Now, if he shows that he can, my next move is to try to get some weight on the wall. That's where I want. I want some weight on the wall. I'd be greedy, in saying I'd like a guy to be in the top 6. Quite frankly, I'd like a guy to play opposite Evander Kane when he comes back. That not being possible, I want to add some weight in my bottom 6 forwards. And maybe not even in my third line, because I think the Janmark, Henrique, Connor Brown line is a good, effective line, and they showed that last year in the playoffs. So if you can't get that weighty winger that can be the top 6 guy on that right flank, then that's okay. Then get some weight deeper down your lineup. The playoffs are about, who can go the hardest, the longest, and it becomes a real battle of attrition. So heavier, especially deeper down your lineup, is better for me.
Craig Button from the NHL on TSN joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz sitting in. And, you talk about going longer and harder in the playoffs. The Vegas Golden Knights going out and getting Brandon Saad on the 1-year, $1.5 million pro rated for the remainder of the season. Have you ever seen a player walk away from that much money like Brandon Saad did?
I'd have to jog my memory. I know there's players that have walked away. Sure, there's been players that have walked away. It's not common practice, but we've seen players. It's not working out for me. But let's just go to Brandon Saad. There's exactly the player. Can he play deeper down your lineup? Yeah. Could he swing up top a little bit? Has he got weight? Can he help you in that battle? So I think what the Vegas Golden Knights did is, it's about the margins. You're trying to improve on the margins. You don't have to improve on your top end. You want to improve behind that top end. I think the Vegas Golden Knights made a nice signing. I think that Brandon Saad's going to be motivated. I think he's always motivated. I'm not worried about Brandon in that regard. But at the same time, you walk away, and I think part of the calculus, Connor, is the fact that, Brandon goes, okay, listen, I can go down to the minors. I can take my salary. Is that really what I want? He's had a good run in the NHL, with some good contracts. So he says, hey, listen, I want to get into a spot where I have a chance to compete and win, and maybe thinking about further down the road next year and whatnot. So I think that becomes part of the calculation for Brandon Saad.
Craig Button from the NHL on TSN joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Now, the Oilers taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs tomorrow, Craig. And I was just kind of looking at their last few games here. They lost 3 in a row, their last 3 against Columbus, Ottawa, Minnesota. Before that, won 3 in a row. Before that, lost 3 in a row. Before that, won 5 in a row. A streaky team. What does that tell you about this Maple Leafs group?
Yeah, it tells you. One of the things that I never do, and I really don't, and I'm not going to say it bothers me. That's not the right way to put it. But you hear a lot about injuries, right? Like injuries. Yeah, I know there's injuries, and everybody has injuries. One of the things with streaky teams is that you try to understand what a streak means. Now, I know a big part of their challenge the last 3 games, they haven't been able to score. But like the Oilers early in the season, they were doing a lot of the right things. They were getting chances. They were getting good opportunities, the quality chances. And when you're not scoring, you start to go, okay, we're not scoring. I think it becomes a bigger problem if your process isn't in order. If you're doing the right things, you're eventually going to score when you have talent. Now, I know they had some good players out of the lineup, Tavares and Matthew Nice. So some of the guys who get the chances aren't as good. They're not going to finish. But you get those two guys back in. Now they get those chances. You finish a little bit better. You end up on the right side. I think there's been much too made about this 3-game losing streak and the lack of offense. It was like the Oilers early in the season. Like, yeah, they weren't scoring. Yeah, the power play wasn't really good. But, boy, they were doing some good things, and they were doing them the right way. And then ultimately you're going to get rewarded for that. I'd be very careful if I were the Edmonton Oilers playing the Toronto Maple Leafs, because this is not a team that's been floundering. It's a team that just hasn't found a way to get the puck across the goal line.
Craig, just one more here for you. Some really good news for the NHL is the salary cap expected to jump up quite a bit in the next 3 years here. And I guess for some players, thinking Mikko Rantanen, maybe Mitch Marner, Tavares, guys that are upcoming free agents, could cash in, could be really nice for them, maybe ease negotiations. But all in all, just a really good sign for the NHL and its growth.
No question about it. I think it speaks to the health of the National Hockey League. I think the fact that they announced what they feel is a very reasonable payroll range for the 3 seasons beginning next year speaks to what their revenue projections are at. Now remember, this is agreed upon between the NHLPA and the NHL, and I think that becomes really important to understand. Okay, the players are confident, the league is confident. You want to continue to grow the game. You want to continue to increase revenues. But the health of the league and coming out of the COVID CBA where the salary cap was flat, there was a lot of different challenges. I think it's absolutely wonderful news with respect to what came out with the payroll range going forward.
Does this make GMs around the league just kind of smile a little bit today?
Some of them. Keep this, and the reason I say that, like when the cap goes up that much, and let's just look ahead. Why don't I go to the midpoint?
Sure.
So in the 26-27 season, they're projecting the cap to be $104.5 million. Okay. Not every team's going to spend to the cap. Not every team's going to spend to the cap. So now you're trying to balance out, okay, what do some of your better players want? How does that matter? Because your internal cap might be $90 million. And there's the floor. You have to spend a minimum, but your internal floor might be 90. So now you start to manage, okay, how are we going to do that? How are we going to remain competitive? We know what we have to do internally, and that's going to be a factor. So when I say that not all the managers are smiling, trust me, they all aren't.
Craig, thanks so much for doing this today. Really appreciate you coming on. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week when Gregor returns.
Okay. I think you guys have done a great job. Maybe he should stay away for another couple more weeks.
You know what? He might not be opposed to that as well. A little longer vacation probably be good for him too.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be. Anyway, it's all good. You guys are great. I always enjoy being with you on Fridays.
Thanks, Craig. We'll talk to you next week. There you go. Craig Button, NHL on TSN, scout and analyst, former NHL GM, Stanley Cup winner. There's a real funny point in the text, or it was on YouTube last week, 2 weeks ago, and someone's like, what's Craig Button never done? Well, he's won a Stanley Cup. so there you go. Yeah, I love having Craig hopping on the show every Friday. Dallas says Connor should be asking for $24 million a year. I know I would be. I don't think he will. PA might love it, though. Someone go crazy with those contracts. Craig was our big guest of the day, brought to you by Silent Rides Charter Company. Visit silentrides.ca for more information. We'll take a break. When we come back, how about more of your texts? 1-833-401-1440. And of course, 5 questions with Declan Kruger. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, Facebook, YouTube, and X, brought to you by playalberta.ca.
Some might like to play hide and seek or even that Where's Waldo game. But out of sight, out of mind is never something GS Construction ever says. Yes, what's underground might be out of sight for everyone, but it's never out of mind for GS Construction because it's not fun and games ensuring Edmonton's underground infrastructure works for you. We take our job very seriously. And even though we may look like we're pretending to be groundhogs, we're really keeping things running smoothly. To find out more, including new job opportunities, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta, new players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
It's the Bricks Friends and Family Sales. For 4 days only, they're extending their VIP offers to everyone. Save up to 30% off sofas, sectionals, bedroom, and dining. Save up to 40% off mattresses. And get a 10% credit to use towards sleep accessories. Save up to $1,000 off major kitchen appliances. Up to $600 off big screen TVs. Plus VIP in-store only deals on appliances and electronics. Some exclusions apply. Visit thebrick.com for details. The Brick, saving you more.
McDonald's presents a hockey showdown like never before. McDavid versus Matthews. There can only be one winner, competing for all the glory and all the prize. The new menu features top shelf plays like the Smoky Quarter Poppy and the Big Mac David, so everybody scores, with even more delicious options like the Spicy Junior Chirpy. Now that calls for a silly Sunday. The Showdown menu, now available at McDonald's.
Looking at the Alberta weather forecast, wild, unpredictable, brutally tough.
When the weather turns tough, Titan Supply doesn't back down. Titan Supply's been protecting workers from conditions like this for 50 years. We stand tall with you against the elements with the industry's best rigging, hauling, and lifting products to get you home safe. Tire chains, wire rope, round slings, chain slings, and a whole lot more. Titan Supply in Edmonton, Grand Prairie, Red Deer, and Calgary. Online at titansupply.ca. Lift, dig, haul.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Culligan. For all your residential water needs, your local water treatment company, more than big bottles. It's Culligan.com.
Look good, feel good, play good. It's the Jason Gregor Show. Thanks for listening to Sports 1440.
Presented by playalberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
.443, welcome back. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Also, Oilers Nation, Facebook, YouTube, and X streaming, and then on Instagram as well. Check us out on the Sports 1440 account. Connor Halley, Wanya Gretz, Declan Kruger, Liam Pease with you here. The Gregor Show brought to you by playalberta.ca. Use code word Gregor50 with your deposit and get a $50 free play. Use your GameSense, GameSenseAB.ca, and stay within your limits. Right now, let's do it. 5 questions brought to you by The Brick. It's The Brick's family and friend sale. Until Sunday, you can save up to 30% off sofas, sectionals, bedroom and dining furniture, and smart TVs starting at just $149 only at The Brick.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
Okay, gentlemen, question number 1. Oilers and Leafs tomorrow in a marquee matchup. And I have a score prediction and a bold prediction for the game.
Bold prediction. Oh, I can't go with John Klingberg again, can I? I'm going to say we're going to get some fireworks. Hockey Night in Canada, lots of firepower. Oilers win 5-4 in overtime. That would be a heck of a game. And bold prediction. Bouchard gets his first power play goal of the season.
I love it. 4-2 Oilers. Remember yesterday when I said Jeff Skinner would score and then he scored?
Nailed it.
That's not happening again. I don't have a bold prediction. Declan?
I actually have 2 that I kind of weirdly both believe in. Because sometimes you say these things, you don't truly believe it, right? Like you got to answer the question. But I'm going to say Oilers win 6-5. Matthias Janmark 2 goals.
Wow.
Yeah.
Off his stick?
One's off the skate. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Question number 2. How did John Klingberg look to you last night, and what are your expectations for him for the rest of the season?
We heard earlier today, don't count your chickens before they've hatched. I'm going to count those chickens and say this guy could be a top 4 defenseman on the Oilers and has found money.
I did like what Craig Button said. He's like, he's not a 1 or 2, 3 because they have that, but he could be 4. Yeah, you know what? I joked. I tweeted it out there so soon into the game. How's everyone thinking Klingberg looks? If you're like, man, chill out. It's been one shift. I there was some moments where he looked like a guy who hasn't played hockey in a year and a half, less than that. But I saw the, hanging on with the puck. He looked comfortable. There was the play. He looked for the huge outlet pass. It was broken up by a diving Detroit player, but that's what I want to see. Like, I want to see him play that style. So I don't know. I'd say he was okay, but my expectations are that this is the worst he's going to look all year. He's going to get better every single game with the comfort coming back, and I'm intrigued by him. Keep on watching him.
I thought it was interesting at intermission when he did his interview and said that he felt pain-free.
That I did tweet out when he got hit and got up. It was like, okay, good sign. And to hear that he'd been skating with a junior team and taking hits and contact, very good sign. But hip surgery is major, so if you can take a few big shots after a game, you're feeling okay. Maybe it's going to be tested if there's a back-to-back game, but I think that's a really encouraging signs.
Question number 3. Who is the biggest NBA All-Star snub this year?
Well, I know you're probably going to say LaMelo Ball because of this link you included. I think LiAngelo Ball being shut out of the Grammys for his song Tweaker. That's the real snub I'd like to discuss in the NBA.
That song was popular for a while.
That was like 3 weeks ago.
It's still good. It's got like a little 2000s flow to it.
It's not like it peaked. Can we agree it peaked?
Well, I think it might still be peaking.
For 3 weeks? Things don't peak for 3 weeks.
Have you moved on? Are you that fickle?
Yeah, I am.
I'll either get married or be buried to the LiAngelo Ball song Tweaker. That's how into it I am.
All right.
I
want to hear the rest. I want more songs, I don't know. Anyways, Trae Young, just because I kind of think like he also has like the name recognition, Declan. So when he doesn't get in, there's a problem. But watch out for the Trae Young revenge tour. Who do you got?
I probably would have had DeMontis Sabonis. His team's above 500, leads the NBA in rebounds. He's top 15 in assists as a power forward center, and he's putting up over 20 a night. I don't know who you would have had instead of him, or who you would have taken off to have him there, I should say. But he probably would have been my pick.
All right.
Question number 4. With the salary cap increasing to $95.5 million next season, and $113.5 million by 2027-2028, give me one absolute home run move for the Oilers in the next couple of years that you think could actually be feasible.
I think all the teams are going to spend this money in inflationary contracts. I think every agent and every GM that are going to have a negotiation for the next 3 years are going to go, hey, the cap's going up. I don't think there'll be a big reshuffling.
Well, for the point of the question, home run move. I mean, hey, it's the one that people have joked about already, Mikko Rantanen. But Mitch Marner, following the path of Cody Ceci, Tyson Barrie, Jack Campbell, Zach Hyman, Moore, Connor Brown, following the Leafs to Edmonton bandwagon. Mitch Marner would be one that I think would be a home run, but I don't think it'll happen.
And question number 5. I skipped it last week, but it's hypothetical Friday. If you were offered $10 million to be locked in a room for 50 minutes with a 50-50 chance that when you come out of the room, you will either be 50 days or 50 years older, would you do it?
Why does this have to be hypothetical? Let's try it.
Like a Schrodinger's cat thing?
Well, I don't know what that means.
But because we know if this happened in reality, we wouldn't age 50 years. That's why we have to make it a hypothetical.
I was being facetious, Declan. Of course, it's hypothetical. Who has this $1 million room that can age or de-age and give you 10? I wouldn't do it.
The hypothesizers.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't do it. Connor, would you do it? 10 mil? Think of your son.
Because I do have a follow-up question to this.
Of course.
No, I wouldn't. Because if I'm 50 years older, that puts me at 87. My good years are gone. If I was a young man, maybe I consider it. But no, for $10 million, I hope to make more than $10 million in the next 50 years in my life. So I think I'd like to just play it out and grow old slowly. Now,
$100 million.
Hey, does time still like is my son still 3 months old, or does he
Yes.
become 57?
Yeah,
Or
wife,
50, sorry.
wife, same age, son, same age. You're the only one who changes.
That's generational money. I might have to bite the bullet and set them up for life.
That's crazy. I didn't think about that. Come out of the room and Wanya Jr.'s 54 years old.
Hello, father.
I'm like, well, we have $100 million, but you look like hell, so I don't even know what to make of this.
Meet Wanye the third.
Can I get some of that plastic surgery money, Dad? I'm like, no, I earned this by going in that magic room that Uncle Declan talked about.
For $100 million, maybe I'm considering it. 10 mil, I don't know. What are you doing, Declan?
No chance, man.
For either?
No.
You want to
No
live
way.
your life?
No way. Yeah. No way. Especially not for 10 million.
Yeah, 10 million is just not enough.
100 is now we're talking a little bit, but I still don't think I could. I don't know if there's a dollar figure, honestly.
How much
situation?
How much to cut off your pinky toe?
Oh, like 100K.
We could crowdfund that.
Yeah, I'd do it.
Sell
for
the toe
100K.
on the other end.
Although you do need it for balance.
Not really.
Okay, I just got okay.
Your pinky toe is expendable.
Yeah,
Coach
man,
Prime
like-
has like half a foot and he's still walking around.
Yeah, like
fine.
100K would be probably. I'd probably do that for 100K.
Gross.
That's a great question for next Friday.
Cut off a pinky for Morgan Wallen tickets.
I once asked the guys, like, I forget what the number was, but like $25,000 to be punched in the face. How many punches are you eating?
It's a great
Who's
question,
punching?
too. Am I allowed to roll with it? or
Mike
shall I?
Tyson, but not prime Mike Tyson.
Mike Tyson now, I swear, if he punched you in the ribs, would break your ribs.
Yeah.
If you weren't like,
I'd still take. And this is to wait. So am I allowed to defend myself in any way?
No, you got to just
Like
eat
I
it.
can't. I can't even roll with it,
No,
man.
it's like that ultimate slap. You just got to take it.
And what? Not to dive too deep into this and derail things, but what type of punch is he throwing?
it's Leangelo Ball and it's a haymaker and he's singing tweaker while he hits you.
It's Jello ball.
Yeah.
I'd eat 4. I'd
Wow.
take 100K. I don't think he knows how to punch properly.
He's a basketball player.
Non-MMA, non-boxer punch, I'd take it, but not from a pro because they can kill you with a punch.
How about slap challenge? That stupid thing they do, but it's not 25,000. It's 10,000.
No, I feel like every slap challenge is a burst eardrum.
Yeah.
I honestly am amazed that this is a thing. Like, I'm amazed the NHL goes, oh, hey, we don't want fighting in our sport. And meanwhile, Dana White's like, I don't have a sport. It's just slap fighting. That's crazy to me.
Remember when he went on? He did an interview and just told everyone that Power Slap was like bigger than Real Madrid on social media.
Yeah, he said it had more followers than any team on earth.
Combined, I'm pretty sure. I think he took it to that level and just said like the most outrageous thing you could in that situation.
I can't support that sport by any means. I would never pay to watch it. But
So dumb.
hand up, anytime there's a little reel on like Instagram, I watch it.
You do?
I do. Every single time.
The only thing more disturbing, because there's no footwork, it's just pow. The only thing worse than that's death badminton, where they play a game of badminton, the loser has to kill or you know how I mean.
Yeah.
Someone goes.
That's a real thing.
It is. Dana
Is it
White.
actually?
Yeah, Dana White's doing it. It's huge.
Dana, man, this guy. Big John had texted in about realistic players the Oilers could potentially land. Nikolai Ehlers, man, I like him. When he's on, he is on. Cat Dad said Ronnie Lott cut off his pinky so he could continue playing in a game.
What?
That's
What sport?
Football. He was a Niners safety.
Cut off his finger
Well, like amputated it. Yeah.
himself?
No. Medical professionals.
Oh. And Bradley Beal won't play basketball for no reason whatsoever other than he's tired.
He's making so much more money
So
than
much.
Ronnie Lott did. That's the difference. The Yakuza attached a toe to their hands to hide the scenario.
If you're in the Yakuza, you have to cut off your finger at some level.
Oh, so they put their toe to their hand to hide it?
Perhaps.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. I don't know much about the Yakuza.
You don't?
No.
How do you regulate Japanese crime in your mind without knowing about the biggest player?
I do not. I respect them. I just let them do their thing. John says, I work nights. Haven't heard anything about Klingberg's game. How did he do? Well, I mean, that's kind of a topic on 5 questions earlier. He looked like a guy, in my opinion, who was once a good player, hasn't played in a long time, and there's some rust, but there was signs of a good player. Like there was, pucks in his own end, looks comfortable with it, looked to make some outlet passes. Also some signs of a player who probably hasn't played in as long as he has. So, John, if you missed the game, you can always go watch it. Someone just peeks their head against the glass. But also, I'd say like he's someone to watch going forward. I wouldn't have extreme expectations. Like I don't think Klingberg's going to get a huge contract from the Oilers to keep him around like long term. But I think he's a guy who's going to be serviceable for this team. And I think that how we saw him last night was probably the worst he's going to be. I think we're going to see signs of improvement going forward. Will you need to mix in a night off here and there? Maybe just in case. Not Kawhi level, but I think it could happen. But I think he's going to get better each and every game. Got a text coming in here. I just want to confirm it or try to. Big John saying that according to Elliot Friedman, JT Miller to the New York Rangers.
What?
So Liam saying yes as well.
Where were you, LP Smooth?
Yeah, Elliot Friedman hearing talks are intensifying with Vancouver and JT Miller. So what goes the other way? Mika? They get Zibanejad out of New York? I don't know if that's who you want. Or a package. We will keep you monitored on that, or we'll keep monitoring that as we go on here. The talks are intensifying, though. Super intense, and I'm hearing he got scratched from Liam. Okay, well, we'll see. We'll talk to Lowetide about that. Maybe Zach Lang as well. How does that impact fantasy perspectives as well? Because Zach Lang, he's only into the fantasy, the daily sports. So we'll talk about that. Very cool. Back-to-back Fridays with big name trades. The NHL is back, baby. It is fantasy. No, it's not. Why am I talking fantasy friends? It's the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440 and Oilers Nation Facebook, YouTube, and X. When we come back, Lowetide and Zach Lang from Oilers Nation plus Wanye's World. But right now, a 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. Shake those wintertime blues with Booster Juice and enjoy one of our many warm and savory grilled fresh food options made in-house daily with the finest ingredients. Declan actually went there for lunch today. Visit our Booster Juice near you today or download the Booster Rewards app.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, news just coming down from Elliot Friedman, just discussed here. Talks intensifying between Vancouver and the Rangers on JT Miller. JT Miller also a healthy scratch tonight for the Vancouver Canucks. The BC Lions are restructuring the contract of quarterback Nathan Rourke with exact terms not yet known, but he will remain signed through the next 2 seasons. 4 games tonight in the NHL. It all gets going with one game at 5 p.m. Predators and Sabres at 6, Canucks and Stars at 7, Blues and Avs, and Blue Jackets and the Utah Hockey Club at 7 as well. NBA action, 7 games, 1 game kicking off the action at 5 o'clock. Clippers and Hornets. Toronto Raptors also in action, playing host to the Chicago Bulls. Tip-off for that one, 5:30. 10 games in the WHL. Oil Kings hosting the Calgary Hitmen. That one's 7 down at Rogers. And in the BCHL, the Sherwood Park Crusaders at home against West Kelowna, 7 p.m. puck drop. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Just when the weather is freezing your nosy, someone's got a new menu that's tasty and cozy. What? It's Booster Juice. Now you can warm up and chow down with a savory selection of grilled fresh favorites. Breakfast wraps, chicken wraps, grilled cheese, steak, and chicken paninis. Topped with melty cheese, creamy pesto, spicy chipotle. Grilled fresh options made in-house, warm and delicious. Made daily with the finest ingredients. Cozy comfort food at Booster Juice. Download the Booster Rewards app today.
Honey, look, there's a 75-inch TV on sale for the big game.
No.
Oh, come on. We could be the football house in a couple of weeks for Super Sunday.
No.
Oh, but I already invited David, Rhett, and Bryden. And you know Bryden, he's bringing his cousin who we brought to our wedding.
What? No. Ew. That guy was hitting on my mom all night. They are not coming over. Go to On the Rocks.
Yes, On the Rocks. Okay, ontherocks.yeg.com. Oh, look, only $30 each. We get a seat, prepaid moveset, team t-shirt, chance to win $1,000 cash. Hey, babe, great idea.
Love you. Go have fun at OTR.
Excavators, loaders, lifts, compaction equipment, and more. Find the XCMG construction equipment you need. Available for rental or sale at Japa Machinery Group. Japa, helping build Alberta from the ground up for 50 years. Visit japamachinery.com.
Attention drivers, it's the midwinter tire clearance sale at Fountain Tire. Right now, you can save up to 20% off all in-stock winter tires. That's right, premium brands, unbeatable safety, and incredible savings. But don't wait, this sale ends March 8th. And once they're gone, they're gone. Contact your local Fountain Tire for complete details. You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk. Elevate your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 noodle, noodle, nood, noodle, 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 nood, noodle, nood, noodle, nood, noodle, noodle, nood. Noodle, noodle, nood, 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 noodle, noodle, nood.
Troll down to Oodle Noodle tonight because dine-in is open. At Cross Mitsubishi, you can rest easy. You're getting a great deal this January, so hurry in now. Finance the 2025 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross ES with super all-wheel control from 0.99% APR OAC, or lease from $309 monthly with $36.88 down. Embrace this winter with our super all-wheel control at only $72 a week for the next 24 months on your brand new 2025 Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross with a 10-year, 160,000-kilometer warranty. Offer ends January 31st. See Cross Mitsubishi in store for details. 9605 34th Ave and at crossmitsubishi.ca.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Crystal Glass. It's your clear choice for residential windows. They're locally manufactured and installed, and Crystal Glass provides a beautiful product and incredible customer services for all your residential needs. You can call 310 Glass or visit crystalglass.ca for a quote.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Evening. Thank you for tuning into the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz, Declan Kruger, and Liam Peace with you here at the Ewell Studios in West Edmonton Mall. The Jason Gregor Show brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. Put in code word Gregor50. Get a $50 free play. Or we can maybe buy your Lotto Max ticket tonight. An estimated $25 million. Use your game sense, though. Stay within your limits. GameSenseAB.ca. I transitioned to good evening because I think after 5 o'clock, it's time to say it. Evening.
Isn't that a nice touch for the listener?
Yeah.
It's like a little clock built in.
Little things like that one. Hope you're having a safe commute home. I don't know. I assume it's still nasty out there. So get those headlights on, tail lights. Take your time and we'll get you home with some grade A entertainment because we got one heck of a guy coming up next in the Oil Report. Brought to you by Volvo Cars Edmonton. You can save up to $12,000 on remaining 2024 Volvo demo models. Only the 13-time Excellence Award winner in sales and service, VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. Alan Mitchell from Sports 1440. You can hear him from noon to 2, Monday through Friday. Also his writing up at The Athletic. And I believe Lowetide.ca. Al, is that correct?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. By the way, evening starts at 4. Traditionally at the Woolworths, the Red Grill started serving the Salisbury steak at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when most of the old folks got together, and ate their supper. So 4 o'clock this evening.
Tide, my grandma and grandfather, rest in peace, they used to live in a kind of like a trailer park type thing for seniors in Palm Springs or just outside of it. And they would get up every morning, like 5 o'clock, go to the pool. It was like spring water heated. Dinner would be by 4 for sure, but the drinks would start flowing at like 1 o'clock. It was a great environment. I really enjoyed it. So my second question is, when you get steaks, just speaking of Salisbury steaks, how do you get it cooked?
Well, when I get a regular steak, I get it medium rare, and I often get it more medium than rare, which is irritating, but I like it medium rare.
Good call. Very good call. I think the steak enthusiast will be on your side with that one. Now, I don't know if you have seen this, but Elliot Friedman saying reports that the negotiations between the Rangers and Canucks are intensifying on JT Miller. What do you think about that for a landing spot for JT Miller?
I think it's good. He clearly wasn't happy there, and it became fairly obvious that they were not going to get, they weren't going to be able to keep both players. Pettersson's the younger, so that makes sense. I don't like the problem the Canucks have is I don't know what you're going to get for this player, right? And so you're probably going to get less than fans hope, and Miller's going to go to New York and hopefully be in a good situation, but they're a bit of a tire fire too. These are two organizations that seem to be, should be stronger this year. I thought both would be, doing better than they are, but the Canucks had to do something, and getting Miller out of town is this early allows them maybe to audition whoever they're bringing in, and God knows what they're going to look like in the summer, because they really have had a disappointing season, and they've got, maybe the best defenseman in the league. Bit of a stretch, but he's close back there. So they've got to be careful about how they move forward with him.
We were cautioned earlier in the episode, LT, not to count our chickens before they've hatched, but let's throw caution to the wind. What are your thoughts on Klingberg? Is he a top 4 defenseman?
Well, he's mobile, guys. Like, the one thing you're worried about is, can he skate? Like, the hip thing is sometimes it works for players, sometimes it doesn't. And you just want to make sure that he doesn't have a hitch like Jesse Puljujarvi, who I love. He doesn't seem to have gotten the power back in his stride. From what I saw Tony Brar sent out a video before the game day, and he looked so mobile, and that's what you look for. He had I had Lansky on my show today. He talks a lot, but he makes a lot of sense. And he said, the guy hasn't played in over a year, like 400 and some days. So I think overall, getting a view of him first blush, probably we don't want to make too many conclusions, but the fact he can skate as well as he does, that's a really good sign.
Frank Saravalli just reporting that the trade is done. JT Miller is going to be York. I think that's a typo. I think it's supposed to say New York, so Frank's going to have to edit that tweet. But it looks like it's going to be Canucks also sending some pieces and prospects going with Miller. So lock it in.
I've been to B York. It's beautiful.
I'm curious how long that's going to last on his Twitter feed. But yes, B York making the play. Comments. Where's he going?
Yeah, that's right.
People having fun with Frank there. Tide, last night, Oilers kind of a disappointing game. All in all, when you're up 2-0 on a team, you want to try to find a way to get the job done. On the counter side, though, it does look like Todd McLellan is the right guy for the Detroit Red Wings. They've been playing some good hockey.
Man, they played well. I think the story of the game is that, not necessarily that the Oilers played so poorly, but the Red Wings just wouldn't give up. They had a lot of fight. They had a lot of bite. They were contesting everything. They skated really well. And their goaltender was, I thought Stuart Skinner was outstanding. Their goaltender was just as good, if not better. Certainly in the shootout he was, but the Oilers weren't exactly getting pucks on net during the shootout, so that's not really fair to Stuart Skinner. It was a really good game. I was happy for Todd McLellan. What I like about him is that he just seems to be a really straight up guy. And, I always respect people who don't change their hairstyle for decades. I like that about him. And then the other thing that I like is, when he first arrived here in 2015, one of the reporters asked him what he thought of Corsi. And he said, well, I don't care about Corsi. I don't know what it is. What I care about is shot differential. And shot differential is Corsi. And I thought, oh my God, this guy is he's clever by 1.5. So I always liked him. I'm sorry it didn't work out, but he had I'll tell you, he had spine. because when Peter Chiarelli traded for Griffin Reinhardt, Chiarelli said he's good enough, he can go, and McClellan said no, he's not, and he sent him out. He didn't favor Reinhardt over another player. He kept I think it was Brandon Davidson, but he kept the guy, and he did the same thing the following year with Jesse Puljujärvi. He said he can't play, he needs to go down to the minors. McClellan was right on both, and I respect the guy who, he eventually got fired. That's the nature of the job. But if you're in a room and you're in charge of making the decision, go with what you know. And Todd McClellan did when he was in Edmonton. And I think sometimes people get kind of negative about him. I think he did some good things here.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it when the hire was made, and I said I don't know if he's the guy that's going to win you a Stanley Cup, but he'll turn it around. Like, he'll build that culture. He'll have them playing the right way, and the Yzer plan certainly needed that because it wasn't going very good for the Detroit Red Wings. And now the Oilers taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs today. We had Speck on earlier today talking about the Leafs. So he was watching them from practice. A team that's kind of funny. They win 3, lose 3, win 5, lose 3. Very streaky, but always a fun matchup that I think the Leafs get up for when they come to Edmonton to take on McDavid and company.
I think the Leafs are a team that really needs to make some kind of move before the deadline, because they're a good team, but they never seem to be able to, and maybe it's coaching, but I don't think it is. But the Oilers can lock and load for months. Like, they went 10-3-1 or whatever in January, and they came out of a pretty good December. Once they get a game, the Oilers have a repeatable game. They can play that game over and over again. And some nights it's not perfect, but they can play that style and they can play effectively. And the Leafs seem to, it's like holding a note in music. They can't seem to hold the note long enough. And they're a frustrating team that way. All kinds of talent, oodles of talent. But I think they need to make a trade. And my suggestion would be a center, but who knows?
What do you think about Brandon Saad signing with the Vegas Golden Knights?
Well, he scored 26 a year ago. He didn't have a good year this year. But sometimes, it's like with Taylor Hall. He's talking like he's glad to be out of there. And he's in Carolina and he's looking forward to it. I think these older players, they sort of get they get grumpy when they're playing for teams that aren't very good or aren't push for the Stanley Cup. Saad has won a Stanley, but he probably wants to win another one. Now he's in a town where he can do it. So I wish there were more deals like that, where the team gets some cap relief, the player gets his free agency, and then he can be out from under, because these contracts are negotiated by, agents, but they don't have to live the life. And, Saad was going to spend 1.5 years in the minors. I think Wade Redden spent 3 or 4. Hal Lucic spent a lot of time in this town being wildly unpopular because of his contract. I think Brandon Saad did it right. Get the hell out of Dodge.
Now, Farhan Lalji reporting, it looks like Senator Philip Hedl could be going in the return as well. So, Lowetide, we're just going to roll with the punches on this trade. I'm looking forward to seeing how it all plays out. This is 2 straight Fridays. We're getting big trades in the NHL, and I absolutely love it. I heard you talking on the show today. I believe I was rolling into the building about how, last night, Connor McDavid, players on his line, unable to finish. Is there someone in the organization on this team, maybe a potential trade candidate, that could be out there that could fit on his line, giving him a realistic finisher, a shooter? Zach Hyman can score 50 goals. A lot of them can come from the blue paint, but a legitimate shooter not named Leon Draisaitl.
It's a great question. There's a disconnect with Jeff Skinner. He's the name I would give you. And if it was 5 years ago, I'd tell you it's Mike Hoffman. But the Oilers, the way they set up is Nuge is like the defensive conscience on the line. And I love Nuge, but he's not scoring, even with McDavid. I think he's got a 1.37 points per 60 at 5-on-5 with Connor McDavid this year. That's very low. And so I don't think you can put Matthew Savoy in that role. He's he's never played in the NHL. He's 20 years old, doing well in Bakersfield. But I think that Skinner would be a candidate. And the other one that they might want to try is Adam Henrique. He's not really a shooter, but he would be that defensive conscience. And finally, Arvidsson, I know he's been hurt, and I know that, McDavid might not want to play with 2 righties, but I think Arvidsson might be a candidate. Beyond that, I mean, Draisaitl seems to be, this year, a guy who can play with literally anyone, and it works out. So I wouldn't be so worried about who his line mates are. Podkolzin looks like $1 million on the Draisaitl line. But I would try. Connor Brown was up there, and he did well for a while, but he missed a great chance last night. So I would try Skinner, but I say that knowing that the coach would he'd rather have Stuart Skinner on left wing than Jeff Skinner, based on how he's handled it so far this year.
Stuart Skinner on the wing. It'd be interesting. Yeah, and Jeff Skinner, last time he scored a goal, he drew out of the lineup. So I'm assuming he's going to be ready to go tomorrow when the Oilers take on the Maple Leafs. LT, you're a week and a bit away from the Super Bowl. I'm sure you'll be a lot more relaxed and taking it easy this week than the next. How are you feeling? Do you think Brandon Graham is going to play after being having his window to practice opened up?
I'm so torn on this because Graham was drafted before, I believe before Fletcher Cox even, and all of those guys. He was early. And so he was sort of, at the point he was drafted, he was like, okay, this is the great hope. We got a guy, and so he's been that guy for like 100 years. But I know that the value of a roster spot on a Super Bowl team is massive. So I hope he plays, but I hope he plays only if he can do himself proud, because he's been a wonderful Philadelphia Eagles player. And I will always remember him and Fletcher Cox and Kelsey and all those cats very, very fondly. Even Nick Foles, who was, such a big part of the last Super Bowl. So I hope he plays, but I hope he's effective if he plays.
All right. I think we might have the draft here, the picks and everything for JT Miller. We said Filipino, Victor Mancini, and a projected first round pick for JT Miller and two prospects.
Well, I like Chatil. I like him. They did okay, I will say.
Yeah,
he's not like, he struggled. He finally found a role. It's so bad when you have to make a trade. It's awful. So I will say they did okay, and we'll find out what they think on the. Was it N York? What did Saravalli? He's from Philadelphia.
B York. BEE York.
It's down in the south.
You probably haven't heard of it, but
those antihistamines must have gone right to Frank's head. I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. For those who don't know, Heedle, obviously, with the Rangers this year, 41 games played, 20 points, 11 goals, a former first-round pick. Victor Mancini is a former fifth-round pick, split time between the Rangers and the Wolfpack this year, and I guess a projected first-round pick for JT Miller and a couple of prospects. Interesting stuff, LT. Thanks a lot for doing this today. We'll chat with you on a Monday, I suppose, hey?
Yeah, you bet. Enjoy the weekend, guys. Thank you.
You too. There you go. Alan Mitchell, host of the Lowdown Lowetide, brought to you by Volvo Cars, Edmonton.
Rather have Stu Skinner on the wing than Jeff. Classic LT.
What a joke. As an Oilers fan, you got to understand that the Canucks were not trading from a position of power. Everyone knows they had to make a move, whether it was Pettersson or JT Miller. Obviously, Miller's the guy out. Rangers probably want him back. Say, hey, well, we'll take a guy like that on our team. We know what he is. Tough to make that move. I just wonder, there was a story I heard from another team in town, not the Oilers, but another team, and they changed their management staff. And the next day, I heard about how everybody just breathed easier. I mean, you can probably talk about that at your place of work too. The company moves on from someone, and everyone's like, okay, this is a little bit more chill vibe. Everything just goes good. I wonder without JT Miller, maybe a few people are ticked off that he's the guy that gets sent out, but you got to think it's just a little bit more of a relaxed environment for the Vancouver Canucks.
Sometimes it's addition by subtraction, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody else gets better when you take. I don't think that Miller was a bad influence. He was just kind of a hard ass, wasn't he?
I think so. Wanted a lot out of his guys. Some teams would probably kill to have that. Maybe not kill.
Maybe maim.
But you'd love to have that guy in your room. What's the talk? Gregor says it all the time about you'd rather have to essentially pull someone back rather than push them forward.
I think it's, you'd rather Tame a stallion and whip a donkey.
Yeah, that's a great line.
Tame a stallion, whip a donkey.
It's like, hey, that's what you'd rather have in your room, for sure. And that, we always say that whenever like you have like a player who's throwing like dirty hits and stuff a little too much, like, yeah, no, this is okay. We can coach him out of it, but you can't maybe get a guy to change the way they play.
The next time someone's giving me crap, Declan, I'm going to look him in the eye and say, hey, try to tame a stallion or whip a donkey, stupid.
Just don't butcher it. Oh, sorry, Al, the incredible hot stepper. I was supposed to tell Alan that they're whipping up some snickerdoodles for him. Missed it. Hal says Brock Besser. I don't think we've seen Besser. Or is that a player you'd like to see with the Oilers? Alfred said Holloway would have been good with McDavid. Perplexed Oilers fan says, I honestly don't see how the Oilers make it through Vegas. They're bigger and fast too. They can punish with the best. Plus the refs love them. I don't see Oilers going the distance this year, even with their winning. I see a lot of tired guys. Or maybe they're just taking it easy until the big dance. Lance says Canucks in the rebuild. And Dave says, why the rift between Miller and Pettersson? Who has beef with who and why? I think there was like going back to a practice where like Miller hacked Pettersson and there was like an on ice like confrontation, which I can see why. Maybe you're like, this is practice, chill out. Or Miller's like, no, we practice like we play, set the tone. Could there be more to it? Maybe. I don't want to speculate on off the ice things, but it's pretty embarrassing. One, that it happens. Another part that they can't get over it. And then finally that it goes public.
It looks like, if I may, the trade coming down looks like it's going to be Philip Chittle, Victor Mancini, and a protected first-round pick.
Protected. No top 10?
Just protected.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe not the return Canucks fans would have loved, but you're getting a guy who's a former first-round pick, maybe some upside there if he gets it going. Birthday says, Miller did the same thing his first stint in New York. Also, did this when Horvat got named captain. So, yeah, no one's going to deny how good he is as a player and what he brings to a team, but maybe you just don't want it in some rooms. When we come back, we'll be joined by Zach Ling of Oilers Nation. Talk about this big trade, get his thoughts on it, the Oilers, maybe a little Blue Jays, some Chicago Bears even, all that and more. It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, Facebook, YouTube, and X, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Day or night, tasting just so right. You can order oodle noodle at oodle-noodle.ca, delivering you the news almost right away. Remember, you can order oodle-noodle at oodle-noodle.ca. So sit on your couch all day and order oodle-noodle.ca. Oodle-noodle.
We believe that great projects start from the ground up. Well, to be accurate, great projects start from the underground up. We're GS Construction, and from pipes to drainage systems, we're always laying the groundwork for a better future for Edmonton. While the month of January may be slow for some, GS Construction is gearing up for a busy year ahead, preparing to build, repair, and replace tons of infrastructure to keep your systems running smoothly. To find out more, including new job opportunities, visit gsconstruction.ca.
Elevate your game with the Basketball Show, hosted by me, Paul Sir. Tune in Saturday mornings at 10 for expert insights, exclusive interviews, and the latest hoops action. It happens right here on Sports 1440.
It's the Bricks Friends and Family Sale. For 4 days only, they're extending their VIP offers to everyone. Save up to 30% off sofas, sectionals, bedroom, and dining. Save up to 40% off mattresses. And get a 10% credit to use towards sleep accessories. Save up to $1,000 off major kitchen appliances, up to $600 off big screen TVs, plus VIP in-store only deals on appliances and electronics. Some exclusions apply. Visit thebrick.com for details. The Brick, saving you more.
From the casinos of Vegas to the bingo halls of Leduc, everybody wants a piece of Lady Luck. And what thanks do I get? It's like I don't even...
There's no such thing as luck. If you gamble, use your game sense. Visit GameSenseAB.ca.
Alberta's largest RV sale is back.
The Edmonton RV Adventure Sale and Show.
Powered by Aviva Insurance.
February 6th to 9th at the Edmonton Expo Center.
Discover over 350 specially priced RVs.
From trailers and fifth wheels to diesel pushers and toy haulers.
New this year, the Ask an Expert booth.
Plus, the lifestyle marketplace with local vendors.
And don't miss the world-famous Super Dogs.
It's fun for the whole family.
Tickets at rvda-alberta.org or at the door.
The Edmonton RV Adventure Sale and Show.
Find your wherever home.
Portions of this hour brought to you by Papa John's. Use the promo code Gregor and get 20% off your order all day, every day. Use the promo code Gregor before entering at papajohns.ca.
From puck drop to kickoff, it's the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440.
Presented by PlayAlberta.ca, Alberta's only regulated online gambling website.
Oil reports done. Legacy heating. Sports 1440, also streaming on Oilers Nation Facebook, YouTube, and X. Connor Halley, Wanye Gretz, Declan Kruger, and Liam Peace with you here from the EWEL Studios in West Edmonton Mall. The Jason Gregor Show is brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca. You can use code word Gregor50 and get a $50 free play. Remember, use your game sense, GameSenseAB.ca. Stay within your limits. And there's got Lotto Max tonight, an estimated $25 million. You can also get that at PlayAlberta.ca. Lots to get to with our next guest, associate editor with Oilers Nation, also Daily Fantasy Sports Report with Daily Faceoff. Zach Lang joins us. Zach, good afternoon. How are things going?
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm doing well, thank you. Excited to hop on and talk about the Oilers sending another Western Canadian team into a rebuild.
Well, we should probably get right into that, right? The big keys to this one, JT Miller going to the New York Rangers for Philip Hedl, as well as Victor Mancini, and we're being told a protected first-round pick, some prospects going back the other way as well. But your thoughts on this trade and the Rangers acquiring a guy who, although he might be a pain in the side to his teammates, a pretty good player.
Yeah, absolutely a great player. He's been a guy who's been a consistent scorer in this league for a very long time, a strong, two-way center. Guys like JT Miller just don't really grow on trees anymore. Obviously, it became a very untenable situation with what happened in Vancouver. And, I think that they probably have some regrets about signing him to that long-term extension that they did just the other year. So, pretty ugly situation that's happened in Vancouver here with whatever's been going on between him and Elias Pettersson. But at least for now, it seems like maybe some of the locker room rifts have been solved with his deal, but who knows what will happen in the future. I think the Canucks very clearly lose the trade here. They're losing the best player involved in this trade, but I think in the same sense, it's kind of a win for them because according to Daily Faceoff's Frank Saravalli, Vancouver isn't retaining any salary on JT Miller. So they're managing to get out of his full cap hit. I like Philip Hedl as a player. His issue has always just been that he's had concussion problems and other injury issues. So, if he can stay healthy, the Canucks are at least getting back, a solid center there. They're getting a first-round pick and a depth defenseman. So, again, it's an ugly situation here for Vancouver for sure. And you just have to wonder if there's going to be more shoes to drop here.
Now, looking at this trade and everything we've seen, the Vancouver Canucks still right in the thick of things, especially for that wild card spot, just a point back of the Calgary Flames. And I'm wondering if this, despite maybe lack of talent, just makes things a little bit lighter for the team and maybe they just play a little more free. Do you think the Canucks find their way back into a playoff spot soon here?
I don't know. I'll be hard pressed to see it happen, to be totally honest with you. I mean, it's been pretty bleak out there right now. They're right on the cusp of it right now, sitting with 1 point back of Calgary for the second wild card spot in the Western Conference. But, Thatcher Demko looks like an absolute shell of himself right now, really struggled this year so far since coming back from injury. Obviously, Miller has not been great this year. Pedersen has struggled. Jake DeBrusk does not look like the player they were hoping to get there. And then the other part of it, too, is another big name there, Brock Besser. I mean, he's another guy who's had a tough year here. So, I think it's entirely possible that, they all of a sudden figure out how to kind of turn things around here with JT Miller out of the picture. But in the same breath, I just have a really hard time thinking they're going to be able to go on any real run here unless they try and swing another big deal.
We'll talk some Oilers in a second, but I do have to ask you about the team ahead of them in the playoff race there, the Calgary Flames. And another trade last night, they bring in Morgan Frost and Joel Farabee from the Philadelphia Flyers. Cost them Kuzmenko and Pelche, probably not the biggest losses for the Calgary Flames. Anywho, what do you make of that trade we saw yesterday?
Yeah, another kind of a big trade here. I mean, I really like Joel Farabee and Morgan Frost. Farabee kind of a middle six scoring winger who's consistently found ways to put up points in depth roles over the last number of years. Morgan Frost, I mean, he's 24 years old, but he's already an incredibly strong defensive center. And those kind of guys are kind of hard to come by, it feels like nowadays, especially for a guy to be so young. So I think the Calgary Flames definitely got better here. I mean, they got the two best players in that trade. And I think that's kind of the way that you evaluate trades, is who's getting the best player. And that's usually the teams who are winning the trades. They're really not giving up a whole bunch here. And Andrei Kuzmenko, who, has kind of really fizzled out over the last year or two. I know there was some chatter on Twitter today that there was talk that Kuzmenko was nearly put on waivers not too long ago. So, Jacob Pelche, fine, middling prospect, but nothing crazy to write home about. I really like this trade for the Flames. Some tidy work there by Craig Conroy.
Zach Lang of Oilers Nation and Daily Faceoff joining us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Connor Halley, Wanya Gretz subbing for the vacationing Jason. He'll be back next week. Going back to last night, obviously disappointing result for the Edmonton Oilers, 3-2 loss in a shootout to the Detroit Red Wings. Back in action tomorrow, 5 o'clock start against the Toronto Maple Leafs. But the big talk on our show today, we've had to ask every single guest about it, so we'll keep it going. John Klingberg, what did you make of his debut for the Oil?
Yeah, I thought it was a solid debut for him. I thought he did some really nice things out there. He looked very mobile, and that was one of the big things that we were kind of hoping to see from him here. Looking back at his time in Toronto and Minnesota and Anaheim, the hip issues that he was dealing with were very apparent there, because you could see the game kind of passing him by in one sense of the term. I don't think there was anything, spectacular that jumped out about his game. And I think, we can't really make too big of claims or decisions off of a singular game here. And so the really nice thing about that is the fact that, we've still got a little over a month until the NHL trade deadline here. So he'll be able to get into a couple of games here over the course of the next week ahead of the Four Nations face-off. You'll get a little chance to rest up, catch his breath a little bit, and then all of a sudden it's right back into the swing of things. So I think it was about as expected from what we were really hoping to see here. From John Klingberg. So, we'll see what he can do with a little bit larger of a body of work.
Zach, we had some people on social media and some texters talking about Connor McDavid's performance and saying, a little underwhelming, but he played 26 minutes, 7 shots, had an opportunity. I mean, if he scores the goal in that wraparound, maybe these texts don't even come in. What did you make of the captain's performance last night?
Well, you know what? I think it's very possible that Connor McDavid dealing with some kind of an illness here as well. It sounds like there's something that's running through the Oilers locker room right now. And I think that, it wouldn't be surprising in the very least to see Connor McDavid or hear that McDavid is one of those guys that's kind of battling the illness. He only played 17 minutes at 5-on-5 last night, 25 minutes in all situations. Obviously, the power play time is always a big thing for him there. But I thought it was a fine performance. I don't know. He's such a good player. Like he doesn't really have down games. And the truth of the matter is even when he has a down game, it's still better than 80%, 85% of the other NHLers that are out there, right? So, I'll take a couple of down games from Connor McDavid every once in a while.
Yeah, I feel like we just have the standards so high for him, and it's like a little off. People are panicking. I saw some crazy theories on social media. We won't even give them any light, but some wild things going on potentially. Zach, how about the Toronto Blue Jays? I know that's something we've talked about in the past, that you got into the team recently. We discussed them on this show earlier today. Some big name signings this offseason with some question marks around them. If I were to ask you to give the Blue Jays a grade this offseason, what would you give them?
Oh man, that's a great question. I think you could probably give them a B+ or an A- here. I've thought that it's been a pretty tidy offseason, all things considering, from the Blue Jays. Obviously far from an ideal situation to be missing out on, some of the huge names that were out there, the Juan Sotos, the Roki Sasakis, like those kind of guys. Obviously, you'd love to see the Blue Jays be able to pick them up. But the Jays have put in some pretty decent work here this summer, and I think, or this winter rather. And this latest signing here, bringing in Max Scherzer, I mean, this is a guy who's been a gamer for so long, and to see a guy like him wanting to come to Toronto and give it a test run for a year, I don't mind that whatsoever. And I think it also speaks to the fact that this team is still trying to be competitive. Anthony Santander, I really like that signing there. The contract structure with it was just beautiful because they deferred some of the money down there to really take down how much he was making on an annual basis. That was a huge move there. I like the Jeff Hoffman signing, bringing him in as a bullpen guy. I think it's been a fine offseason for the Jays. Now, I would still like them to see them do a little bit more here. I think the next big shoe we're waiting to see what happens is Pete Alonso. The talk has been that if Scherzer does sign with Toronto, which he has here, the Jays have a real good shot at trying to land Alonso. And it sounds like it's between the Mets and the Jays for him. So going to be interesting to see what happens here, in the next couple of weeks. But it's all coming up pretty quickly, man. I mean, it's like 2 weeks away until pitchers and catchers report. So just another winter flying by in the baseball world.
No, absolutely. And you know what? Like the money being spent is crazy, but I'm kind of locked into it. Like I might hate watch the Dodgers, or if they do really good, I'm going to say biased. I'm an LA sports fan as a Chargers fan, and I like them. I'm undecided which route I'm going to take, which leads me to my question about your NFL team, the Chicago Bears, 10th overall pick in the draft. I have an idea where I would go if I was making that selection. What do you think the biggest position of need is?
Oh man, great question. There's so many holes to fill here for the Chicago Bears team right now. Like I think for me, as much as I would love to see them go the Ashton Jeanty route and get this really high-end running back who looks like a guy who could be a game breaker at the next level, I almost wonder if the more important thing here is to try and protect Caleb Williams, try and grab a big offensive lineman. I'll be the first to admit I haven't done a whole lot of digging into this draft class yet. It's been a pretty busy hockey season here for me. But that's kind of one thing that I kind of wonder about is if they try and go that route there. In the same breath, with Ben Johnson coming in from the Detroit Lions, he's a guy who loves to run high-flying offenses. So I think that the Bears have a definite need at running back too. DeAndre Swift just really didn't get the job done last year, and then the backup running backs, they really struggled as well with Roschon Johnson. Khalil Herbert barely played before he got traded to the Bengals, and they really have no further depth beyond that. So, there's some nice pieces in Chicago. They've got some good pieces on defense, but the offensive line for me is the one that I kind of keep coming back to.
That is precisely what I was thinking. Great mind, Zach. Well, thanks for doing this today. We really appreciate it. Unless Wanya wants to say, you got any questions, Wanya?
No, I'm just listening along. I'm a big Zach Lang fan.
Well, I'm a big Wanya fan.
Well, there we have it.
Oilers Nation love. Well, thanks for doing this, Zach. Really appreciate it. We'll talk to you later on.
Peace and love. Thanks for having me, guys.
There you go, Zach Lang, Oilers Nation. Give him a follow on Twitter or X at ZJ Lang. By your tweet, the Oilers once again send a Western Canadian team into a rebuild.
So good.
Just tweeting that one out a few minutes ago. The text line, 1-833-401-1440. If you'd like to get anything in before we wrap up, we'll be down in about 20 minutes, handing things over to Fox Sports Radio overnight. Of course, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m., we've got the Saturday Sports setup at 10 a.m. It is the basketball show with Paul Sir, and then Fox Sports afternoon, leading into the Oilers pregame show with Andrew Walker and Donovan Paulson from 4 till 5. It is a 5 o'clock start down at Rogers Place. This is the Jason Gregor Show. We'll take a break. When we come back, more of your text in Wanya's world. Connor Halley, Wanya Gretz, Declan Kruger, Liam Peace with you here on the Oilers Nation YouTube, Facebook, and X. Also, Sports 1440, brought to you by PlayAlberta.ca.
Sunday, February 9th. The biggest game of the year. Broadcast on 30 TVs.
Only at On the Rocks. Join host Ryan Jesperson at OTR's Rock and Bowl Super Party.
Tickets only $30 and include
Guaranteed seating,
a team t-shirt,
prepaid moosehead,
and an all-you-can-eat tailgate buffet.
plus prizes each quarter.
And one person will take home $1,000 at the end of the game.
Touchdown! Rock and Bowl Super Party, February 9th.
Tickets at ontherocks.yeg.com.
Just when the weather is freezing your nosy, someone's got a new menu that's tasty and cozy. What? It's Booster Juice. Now you can warm up and chow down with a savory selection of grilled fresh favorites. Breakfast wraps, chicken wraps, grilled cheese, steak, and chicken paninis. Topped with melty cheese, creamy pesto, spicy chipotle. Grilled fresh options made in-house, warm and delicious. Made daily with the finest ingredients. Cozy comfort food at Booster Juice. Download the Booster Rewards app today.
Kids getting free all season long. Can you believe it? Looking for an enjoyable and affordable family night out? The Spruce Grove Saints are excited to introduce their Kids Get In Free program. All kids 12 and under receive free admission for every Saints home game this season. Bring the entire family for action-packed junior hockey at a fraction of the cost. For more information, check out sgsaints.ca.
Hockey is back, and Play Alberta, Alberta's #1 sportsbook and official partner of the Edmonton Oilers, has you covered with bigger offers, boosted odds, live betting, player props, and more. New to Play Alberta, new players now receive $200 in free bets just for signing up. You already play? Get a $10 free bet for every $100 you bet. Every week, all season long. Visit playalberta.ca and make your picks today. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Much of our challenges in healthcare can be solved by spending public dollars on a public system. Our healthcare system can't wait any longer.
Visit rebuildourhealthcare.ca to learn more.
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson again. Did you know that all mechanical equipment has a typical life expectancy? A furnace and air conditioner generally lasts 15 to 25 years, and your hot water tank is more in the 6 to 12 year range. With that in mind, your mechanical equipment will last longer with regular maintenance and service from the pros at Weiss Johnson. Visit wjheats.com today to book your service or provide you with an estimate for a new furnace, air conditioner, or hot water tank that is long past its prime.
Let's act together to stop the
It is the Jason Gregor Show here on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, X, Facebook, Sports 1440's Instagram account. I think that's it. If you missed anything on the show today, go to jasongregor.com or check out the podcast. Man, we're crushing it on Apple this week. Mark Spector joined us, talked some Oilers, Shai Davidi. We looked at the Jays. We had Kevin McGran on about the Toronto Maple Leafs. This show's kind of flown by, actually. Cam Tate's 2-minute warning. We talked some Flames, looked around the NHL with Craig Button, Zach Lang, Alan Mitchell. Go check it all out. And on iTunes, hit up, subscribe, and then also auto-download. And then you don't have to worry about it. It's all right there for you, and you only have to use your data. We got a text in here from Beaumont Bill. He says, hey, guys, I am very familiar with Oilers Nation, the website, but how did it all come to be? So Wanye, obviously putting the things together. You're big on Oilers Nation.
Oh yeah, thank you.
You run the social medias.
Yeah.
You also created it. So how did Oilers Nation become what it is?
Boy, that's a good question. It's longer ago than I care to admit. Well, first I was watching the show Lost. Are you familiar?
That show's opening scene hooked me.
Okay.
I watched the entire thing, even though it got so bad.
It was an interesting show to watch, and I'd never really watched like a show per se before that point. Like I never really got into a show because I was a big Oilers guy. And one of the cool things about Lost was that they had a website you could talk about Lost on. And the message boards on the Lost website were like really hardcore people that the show's creators interacted with. So they would leak information. They would show stills from upcoming episodes. And watching and reading the Lost website, I was like, man, this is like making something awesome way awesomer. And I thought, we should make Lost website, but Oilers. And I kind of had that in my head for a little bit. And I was talking about it with my business partner, Jay Downton. And then Smitty got traded a few months later.
Yeah.
And we were so mad, Connor. Livid. This is pre-social media. What did you do with your rage? Scream out the window? And I was like, we should start a Lost website for the Oilers. And we started bringryanhome.com, bring94home.com. And we didn't know how anything worked in terms of analytics or how many people went there or anything like that. And we put t-shirts for sale at a store at Kingsway Mall. And I made my sister draw a milk carton with Smitty missing on the side of it. And I'll never forget getting a panicked phone call from the store in Kingsway. And they're like, where did you put our phone number? I'm like, what do you mean? They're like, our phone won't stop ringing. People want these stupid t-shirts we're making for you. Take the phone number down wherever you put it. I was like, I think we're onto something here. So we turned the Ryan Smith protest site into Oilers Nation.
Now, obviously, that was a good website you guys had built.
Very good.
You grew it. You hired writers, Robin Brownlee, Jason Gregor.
In year 2, we hired real writers.
You got Lowetide on board at one point.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people would have just been like, okay, this is cool. But you guys kind of grew it. I worked on Oilers Nation Radio. Me and Lowetide did a show on Saturday afternoons down the dial on 1260 for a while. What got you guys into radio?
Well, this was pre-podcasting. And I thought at some point there would be like a radio on computers. I didn't know what podcasting was yet. So I thought it would be a really good idea to try to have our own radio show like how Gregor did, because Gregor had his own show on 1260. And so it took probably 2 years negotiating. And then we got LT to be the host, because I'd known him as the guy from lowetide.ca, and I emailed him about 14,000 times to meet me for lunch, and he did eventually. When he walked in, he was like, hello there, how are you? And I was like, dang, why do you talk like this? And he's like, I used to be on the radio. We put our team together, and then we made a bunch of websites. So we had 16 websites. We bought hockeyfights.com. We bought dailyfaceoff.com, which was rosters and lineups, and is now turned into our flagship site. And we now have 28 podcasts.
And when you guys started Oilers Nation Radio, you headhunted a young Connor Halley.
We did.
Said, got to have him. Or I was the one who was just working there coincidentally, and I was already there on Saturday afternoon, so they let me hang around.
That was pretty smart, though, to get it on our website with the clips, too, because we were trying to show you could have more people watching on a website than on a radio station. We're trying to prove this value to the station.
Yeah.
And now look, you're streaming on Oilers Nation Facebook and stuff.
It's wild. Crazy to think. Just some frustrated fans create this thing, and now you just see stickers all over people's cars now.
Smitty knows that we started it up because we loved him so much. And when Smitty retired from the Moose Jaw Warriors, we went out there and covered his retirement.
Oh, really?
And we saw him on the plane after leaving, and he was like, I just can't believe that because of me, the internet. We're like, that's mostly it, Smitty. Because of you, the internet. You're the
That was the actual quote?
Mostly.
Because of me, the internet.
Well, he was just sort of gesturing, and we were all excited.
Yeah.
You know how it gets. We love Smitty. Still do.
Oh, you have to love Smitty in this town. Sabres right now lead the Preds 2-1. Ryan McLeod with his 11th goal of the season. Rasmus Dahlin, a couple helpers on the game. For the Preds, one of my favorite names to say, Luke Evangelista with the lone goal. Justin Barron and Ryan O'Reilly with the helpers. Oilers in action tomorrow, taking on the Maple Leafs. We've predicted an exciting game. You said what? 6-5? I had 5-4.
And Connor fighting AM34 at center ice.
They must meet at center ice.
Unbelievable.
Austin Matthews, I think, for Team USA going to wear number 25. I wonder what that means. There has to be some significance for him. LeBron, well, and all NBA players always change their number when they represent the national team. Declan, is that just because on the national level they want to go like 1 through 12?
Yeah, they capped it. Like you couldn't go higher than a certain number. It's also the year.
That couldn't be it, could it?
Well, I don't know.
Is there any 34s that are like Trump, Austin Matthews on Team USA? Like, no. I'll be using that number. You can have 25. Shout out Mike Greer. Probably the best 25 in sports history. Maybe Mark McGuire. Was Barry Bonds 25? There's been a few good ones.
Barry Bonds and Mark McGuire had the same number?
Well, I remember Mark McGuire. I don't know about Barry Bonds, actually. I have to check that one out to confirm. He wore 24 and then Pittsburgh and 25 in San Fran. So, and I don't really remember Pittsburgh Barry Bonds. So yeah, 25.
Half the man he used to be.
Literally,
he was all skinny.
Yeah. Oh, big time. Big time.
Till he found the gym, Connor. Air quotes.
That's when you load up. Okay. Barry Bonds, Ricky Henderson, Richard Sherman. All right. That's an okay pick. Not the best list of good players for an. Well, like on this list, I found Vince Carter is number 4, ranking 25s. He wore it like for 1 year. Shady McCoy. Yeah, not the greatest number, but I'll have Mike Greer up on my list when it comes to 25s. Stanzi says, Oilers Nation is brilliant. I'm one of the biggest fans of the Oilers. Would love to do something like that or be a part of it. I'm so envious. Always tuning in.
Thanks, buddy. Anyone can make anything they want in this world. Let that be a lesson to you.
It's cool because, like, you guys might have been one of the first, but you look at, like, Oilers fan sites. There's tons.
Awesome. We love them all.
Like, no free pub. But they're out there.
No free pub?
No, not anymore.
That's harsh.
I know.
There was one before us, and I guess no free pub, but...
Hey, are they still around?
Oilfans.com? The OG generals will remember.
Oil fans?
Yeah.
It's like close to OnlyFans.
Well, it was oilfans.com.
Yeah.
And they had a message board. I think it was oilfans.com. Anyways, I was always on there, reading everything, starting rumors, reacting to rumors other people had started. It was the greatest.
It was the best. Free plugs. I have my Berries hat on today, Saskatoon, because yesterday someone said it's a terrible name, the Saskatoon Berries. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to wear my hat tomorrow and represent them. Because if you're watching on YouTube, it's a good look.
Can we agree at 5:52 on a snowy Friday afternoon that there's nothing better than talking about and watching the Oilers? There's nothing better.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know, when you see two people drive by in a tandem bike and you go, why on earth would they agree to that? It seems that they're happy. For me, the Oilers is that tandem bike, and I'm both people riding it because I love the Oilers. It never feels like work. We started up the nation 2008. That was approximately 6 years ago. It still doesn't feel like work.
Do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life.
Unless what you love is murder. Then you must never, ever do what you love.
Never do it.
Nope.
What do you think of Corey Perry getting on the top line at practice today with McDavid and Draisaitl?
Give the man his due. He's doing everything we could ask him to do.
Second line, Hyman, Nuge, Arvidsson.
Yeah.
One word to describe each of these lines, starting with Hyman, Nuge, Arvidsson.
Poignant.
McDavid, Draisaitl, Perry.
Offensive.
Podkolzin, Henrique, Brown.
I don't know.
Skinner, Janmark, Kapanen.
Electric.
Phillips on a line by himself.
Unheard of.
Nurse Bouchard.
Steady.
Kulak, Emberson.
Underrated.
Stetcher.
By himself?
Yeah. Ekholm and Klingberg not on the ice.
Oh, I see. Stetcher on his own? Let's ride.
I think Ekholm and Klingberg would be ill.
If
they might be
Klingberg,
sick.
If Klingberg is anything other than a Norris candidate next year, I'm gravely disappointed.
That's the way she goes. High expectations. Well, Wanya, thanks for coming in this week. I think we're back next week. I'm not exactly sure.
We'll work it out.
Monday, absolutely. Sean Brown will be in. He popped up on the screen behind us. He just peeked his head in. If he wanted to get in here a little bit early. For Wanya, Declan, Liam, and myself, thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. It was a lot of fun. We'll be back on Monday to do it all over again. Fox Sports Radio coming up next. But first, one final Sports 1440 update brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home with no payments, no interest for 1 year on your furnace. Stay warm all winter at legacyheating.ca. Good night.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
And one last time from me, your Sports 1440 update. News coming down from the NHL world. JT Miller has been traded to the New York Rangers. Full trade details are JT Miller, Eric Brandstrom, and Jackson Dorrington heading to the Rangers. To the Canucks, it's going to be Philip Hedl, Victor Mancini, and a 2025 first-round pick, top 13 protected. No salary retained on JT Miller for the Canucks, and if the Rangers pick is top 13, the pick will transfer to 2026. Scores around the NHL world right now. One game in action. Sabres lead the Predators 2-1 with 4 minutes to go in the first period. In the NBA, Clippers lead the Hornets 42-36 with 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. Mavs trail the Pistons 55-53, 3 minutes to go in the second quarter as well. Nuggets up big on the 76ers early, 20-12, 6 minutes to go in the first quarter in that one. And the Bulls lead the Raptors 17-14, 4:56 to go in the first. Other news in the sporting world, the BC Lions have announced that they are restructuring the contract of Canadian quarterback Nathan Rourke. Exact terms not yet known. Rourke remaining signed for the next 2 seasons. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Up next is Fox Sports Radio Saturday Sports Setup tomorrow at 9 a.m. and the basketball show at 10. I'm Declan Kruger. This has been a Sports 1440 update.